Hey everyone, today is Thursday, the 30th of July, 2020. It's The Gap, episode 527. I'm Luke Lawrie. Joab Gilroy is here. How's your week going, Joab?
Pretty good. Pretty busy. But yeah, got some work on. And yeah, I think it's working out pretty good. Been playing some fucking good games.
It's been a lot.
Been pretty entertaining, yeah. Which is good. What about you, Luke? How's it going?
It's going all right. It's going all right. I bought we bought a bread maker last week, and so I'm like the bread king now. I just make bread all day. That's what I do.
What's your best bread? What's the best bread you make?
Banana bread is the king at the moment. Yeah. Just the standard white loaf. I'm sort of still testing that, like how to get it good. Changed up the recipe. I've got some a different type of milk in there now, so some like buttermilk, and it's better. It's tasting better. So yeah, still sort of playing around with that. And I bought some more ingredients. Probably look into some like sourdough soon.
Got to get a sourdough started. You're in San Francisco.
Oh, it's everywhere.
Got to make that San Franciscan sourdough.
I think they give it to you when you move here.
Yeah. Here's your starter. Here's a jar of fucking yeast. It will expand without you doing anything about it.
Yeah, just remember to feed it. Keep feeding it.
Just keep feeding it. Yeah.
No, because I got I'm just like sick of running out of bread midway through the week and having to walk to the shops. That's just annoying.
Oh, yeah. God forbid you get out of the house during lockdown.
I mean, in this climate, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is it too hot?
No, I just mean like where.
Oh, you mean the
everyone's in masks.
Pandemic climate.
Yes. Yeah.
Of course.
I like my sort of one trip to the shops a week. That's if we go. But I'm always just running out of bread. So I was like, fuck it. We'll get a bread maker and hopefully never run out of bread anymore.
Have you considered eating less bread? Not on the cards.
I eat bread every day. So for my lunch.
Yeah. For your lunch.
Yes.
Bread and water?
Sometimes water if I'm feeling special, but usually it's just bread.
Just bread.
For the most part. Yeah. I don't know, man. Basketball's back tomorrow. That's exciting. They've gone, I think, nearly a month now without a single person being tested positive, which is interesting. I've been watching a lot of YouTube vlogs of players doing like 10, 20-minute videos of them inside of the NBA bubble. It's pretty interesting. JaVale McGee's got a good one from the Lakers. Yeah, but it's I don't know. It's good stuff. I'm enjoying it so far. I watched a bunch of the practice games, like the scrimmages, really interesting setups going on there. Do we talk about this last week, or did I put it on? I think I put it on Twitter that the NBA was considering using like crowd noise from NBA 2K, and they started doing that in the Lakers games that I was watching, which is strange because like they've actually got someone like controlling it where. When players get when the home team gets like a bucket or something like that, then there's like clapping and cheering, and when they steal a pass, or it's the same sort of thing, or if a player like if they like miss a shot on the other team, or like there's all these different interactions that you can hear changing throughout what's going on, which makes it really strange. Like it's not just constant crowd noise; it's like crowd interacting with what's going on the court. Like when someone steals a ball, you hear the crowd making a noise as if that's happened. So like I don't know if that's something that's going to tee across into the main games, or if it's sort of like each broadcaster is doing their own thing. But the Lakers home games that I've watched are doing that. They've also got like an interactive crowd in the background, and I don't know how they've done that, but it's like people sitting at their computers or something, watching with headphones on and like a green screen behind them. Anyway, yeah.
Terrence Ross was saying that, like without distractions in the stands, players are going to get fucking super hot on the fucking
free throw.
Like the free throw and yeah, on the outside. Like they've got all this opportunity, you know, to laser in. Like all of the minor distractions that will put someone off their game no longer exist anymore. And honestly, all I could think about was the time that I was in Shanghai at the NBA Global Game, and fucking what's his name, Psycho T was T Hansborough. What Hansborough? Yeah, was going for a free throw, and me and Alan Moore fucking stood up and clapped our bang sticks right as he fucking went up and on the free throw, on his second free throw. And he looked like he was going to fucking murder us because he fucking bricked it. And because in China, right, for reference, in China, nobody fucking does anything. Everyone sits super still during the free throw. And like it's evidently very disrespectful to deliberately throw some motherfucker off their game in the middle of a free throw. But yeah, we did it, and we were not popular. We were sitting right behind literally behind the fucking hoop. They were not good seats, except for the fact that we were very close to the action, and we could fuck up free throws at will.
Yeah,
people did not like us. They didn't like it. It was fucking hilarious. But yeah, like I've seen it in action. You know, when nobody like, fuck, who was it? It was the Rockets versus the Clippers. And DeAndre Jordan
was there.
Yeah. DeAndre Jordan was hitting his free throws that night, and he's not a bad.
He's good now.
Free throw shooting. He's definitely good now, but
Back
he wasn't good then.
Yeah.
But he was good in China. He was hitting them in China.
Yeah.
When we weren't doing anything to fuck him up because we like him. But yeah. It was good.
It's yeah, I mean that's what it is. It's like mind games, and you hear all these stories about players that are bad free throw shooters hitting like 75% of their shots at practice, and they get into the what's considered a proper game, and they're like a 45% free throw shooter. It's like completely different.
Anyone can get a taste of this. You know, I think anyone can get a taste of this. Just play a competitive video game and be the last one left on your team, right? Be the last person left on your team. And all you need to do, right? I like fucking me, right? Like me in Rainbow Six, right? I got 2 fucking aces in a row the other day in Rainbow Six. It was disgusting. I don't know what had happened to the skill-based matchmaking, but I was playing against straight fucking potatoes, right? And like I was just fucking blapping these cunts from all over. I was pulling off shit that should never have worked in a million years. We're on house, and I'm like throwing fucking C4 over fucking walls, and it's killing fucking like a Monty and a Blitz. Somehow it lands behind both of them and gets them. Like just fucking heinous shit, right? 2 aces in a row, and I had like I never used to do this shit, right? I've always been a competent enough Rainbow Six game player, but now, ever since I started muting every motherfucker in the game, I'm lasered in, right? Like that's it. Everyone can see this in action for themselves just by like witnessing the difference between realizing there are people watching and like, you know, play fucking Warzone, right? And when you're the last one left on your squad, and you know fucking Luke and Nate are fucking watching, and they're definitely yapping the entire fucking time, and you're like, oh god, just fucking hit, and then you fucking miss everything.
Potatoes. Yeah.
Potato. Yeah, like people like pressure is a huge thing, and I don't think like I think NBA players being paid as much as they are great evidence that like it's not something that you can just get over, right? Sure. Like you just don't overcome pressure. Like certainly there are the Kobe's of the world with fucking ice cold blood in their veins who just never flinch, right? But yeah, there are others who are constantly like the fucking gears are always turning, and they're not turning like, I think the Kobe's used it to do the Batman thing, anticipate every eventuality. Meanwhile, the others are just sort of the gears are turning to anticipate every possible outcome of failure. And I think that, obviously, you can get past it in some ways, but it's not something you can just mentally just do. You don't just do it yourself. You need help. And some people will never fucking get over it. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
It's fucking fascinating. I mean,
I saw them also doing the virtual crowd on the behind the backboard as well, because like, and they're gonna. It looks like they're gonna be doing like home and away games as well, because the Lakers were all set up in like all the Lakers stuff, all the colors, and they had like virtual cheerleaders and like the virtual crowd. And the thing I'm not sure about is what they're doing with this crowd noise yet. We don't really know. Because the first couple of games that I watched. The first game that I watched mustn't have been a home game. I guess it was an away game. And it was dead silent. Like, you could hear everything that was going on. And the second game, I'm like, there's like people cheering and stuff. What is going on? And they've tried to like dampen that sound. So once we get into the actual games that start tomorrow, I'm interested to see what they're going to go with. Like, if it's just going to be different depending on who's broadcasting, or if it's just going to be like a flat across the board, trying to block as much noise out as you can. So anyway, it's going to be interesting. See what happens. Hopefully they get through it, but I'm still cautious. You see some of the other sports leagues that have just like, was it MLB that's like had a bunch of teams that have contracted?
Yeah.
It's just
like full teams. Yeah.
Yeah. Like 8 players or something from one team. It was nuts. But I guess that's the way the world is at the moment. So hopefully, fingers crossed, the NBA can sort it out. Because if the NBA can't do it, then nobody's gonna get through this, because they're pretty progressive with this sort of stuff. So yeah, interesting times.
Yep.
Anyway, should we talk about some games or
yes,
some TV shows about games? Because I started watching Mythic Quest, Raven's Banquet. And you talked about this show a couple months back when it hit, when it first hit Apple TV. So I've been watching some Apple TV stuff recently. We kicked off with Mythic Quest, which is a TV show from the creators of It's Always Sunny, and set in a development studio, very similar to like a Ubisoft sort of thing. And it's actually like the production team is Ubisoft. You would have seen this shown off last year at E3 when Rob came up on stage and introduced the game and said that like, we're working with Ubisoft and here's a quick trailer and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, but it's very much like, I don't know, it's hard to just. I can't remember it was you that described it as sort of like The Office. It's not really like a mockumentary. Like, they're not engaging with the camera or anything like that. But it's also, a lot of it is very video game focused as well. Like, a lot of the episodes are very much in line with. It's not like they're doing things in an office and it's sort of the things that are happening around them. Like, they focus pretty heavily on stuff like monetization in games and levels and things that are happening in the game and events around video games and that sort of stuff. So it's very much looking at like the culture of gaming and then having discussions around it, and then like what's behind game development, and at a very like high level as well. Like, it doesn't go super deep into it. There are a lot of gaming terminology that's thrown in there quite a bit that I was pretty surprised about. I enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. I'm definitely more interested to see what they do with like season 2 now that they've sort of got that out of the way, and they can start fleshing out some of these characters a bit more, and maybe start expanding outside of the world of just focusing on video game stuff. Because I don't really know what It's Always Sunny is like, but I assume it's not all about the bar every single episode, right?
Kind of is.
Really? Okay.
I mean, they leave the bar sometimes, but it's mostly about the bar.
But there's stuff that happens in the bar that comes out. It's not about things that are going on, like bar life, like type of thing.
Oh, no, 100%. But like, Oh no, like from that perspective, like the bar is just
The set.
the set.
Yeah.
Uh,
Whereas this
but
doesn't
it's
feel like
100%.
it's the set. This feels like they're talking about video game stuff majority of the time and throwing in comedy things and
Well, I think yeah, like it's a classic season one situation, right? Where they're
yeah.
trying to work out exactly what works and what doesn't, and
Mm.
they'll no doubt go back and work out, what were the most popular episodes and go from there. But yeah, I think my comparison to The Office is mostly around the structure of it. Obviously, it's not a mockumentary, but like the idea of there's a dickhole boss who thinks he's the greatest thing of all time, and then you've got all of these people below him attempting to fucking deal with that, and it sort of revolves around how they deal with it and how the boss throws a spanner in the works by being himself every now and then.
Hmm.
But yeah, have you finished the
Yeah, we
season?
finished it. We binged it in a couple of days.
Did you watch the quarantine episode?
I did. Yep.
That was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, so I've noted down 3 episodes here that I really liked. I think episode 3, which is titled Dinner Party, is probably my favorite episode out of all of them. This one's about a new feature that they're putting into the game. And earlier on, they set up this new item in the series that they're introducing for monetization. And it turns out that a hate group has sort of taken this item and is doing like symbols in there, and they're a Nazi group. And so it's all about how do we get rid of these Nazis and things like that. Yeah, I just think it's it's extremely funny. It's very funny, that episode, but also like things that we've talked about on this show of like how do you get rid of like cheaters? It's like put all the cheaters in their own server. It's like they're talking about things like that in the solution to fixing a bunch of this stuff. So I think that one is the best episode that I've seen out of the sort of, I think it's 8 episodes that they've got, 9 episodes. Yeah, so I just really like that one. That's when I was like, man, this is really good what they're doing here. It's pretty funny. And then episode 5 is called A Dark Quiet Death, and it is completely separate from the basic entire series. It's sort of like
the main arc.
Yeah, like it's not set in present day. The tone of it is completely different. It's like you're watching a drama as opposed to a comedy series, and it stars what's his name, Jake Johnson, and also a film that we talked about last week which was Palm Springs. Kristen Milotti, I think her name was. Yes, that's her. So she was in Palm Springs. And it's basically starring them two, talking about like the birth of this video game studio and sort of like the games that they make. And I think it's one of the best maybe written shows that I've watched this year. It's extremely good. It's gotten like it's nothing to do with any of those other episodes that they tell, other than like every once in a while it's sort of referred to, but otherwise it's sort of like a completely different 30-minute sort of spin-off thing. I just thought that was super fascinating because they don't explain sort of what's going on or anything. It just kind of just happens and you watch it and it finishes. And you're like, wow, okay. That was something completely different. And that one's actually directed by Rob and written by his sister. So yeah, anyway, what did you think of that one in particular?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. It was very confusing.
Yeah.
When it just sort of came up and then didn't link to literally any of the fucking show, but I was like, oh yeah, no, it's good. I like it. I like it despite it having no fucking connection. And then later on you see, I think if you look closely, you can see how it is connected.
Yeah.
And I think that like heightens how clever it is. Yeah.
Like comes back. Yeah.
Yeah. And there are seeds of it all throughout the show, the season as it is.
Yep.
But yeah.
And then the last one was the quarantine
But
episode.
there was not enough Poppy in that episode, so I didn't love it. Poppy's the greatest.
who is I guess she's not the main. Rob would be the main, right? And then
Yeah.
the character of Poppy, I'd say, would be the second lead of the series, who is an Australian, and very Australian. So
yeah,
yeah,
they go hard on the accent.
and they throw in like every once in a while, like an Australian joke in there, just like
yeah.
where
And then Cricket David Hornsby, the producer.
yeah,
He like co-created the show with Rob. He's Cricket from Always Sunny. He's fucking hilarious as well. But yeah.
And then the quarantine episode, which aired recently, it looks like May. So they filmed this during lockdown, and it's basically entirely set in a like a Zoom call or some sort of like video conferencing call. And yeah, I thought that one was really good as well. Very funny, some cool stuff going on there. So I'm interested to see like what happens in this next season, because like there aren't a lot of comedy TV shows that really start off that find their footing. Even What We Do in the Shadows, I think it's fine, but like season 2 is where it gets really good.
And What We Do in the Shadows had the benefit of, the movie as well. It's based off a film, so yeah, it had the opportunity to sort of work a lot of that stuff out prior to that, and then all they had to do was really nail down what they loved about the new characters. But yeah, I can't think of a fucking, like, What We Do with this in the Shadows is probably the closest I can think of to a comedy that has a season, first season. Oh no, corporate is
The Office is like that as well, like the US offices. Sorry,
no, the US office is way too close to the original. Like, well, for the first like half of it is like nearly identical. The first 2 episodes are fucking identical, and then like halfway through they're still really leaning heavily on the UK shit, and by the end of it, is that the party is the end of the first season?
I mean, the first season is very much like it trying to find its foot, or like what it is.
Oh, right. I'm trying to think of fucking comedies with seasons that fucking nail it in the first one. And corporate and What We Do in the Shadows is probably the fucking closest I can think of.
Yeah. I liked season 1 of What We Do, but I think season 2 is so much better. It's excellent. Anyway, my point is that now, because it got renewed, so I'm very keen to see what they end up doing with that, and whether or not like they bring in someone like Charlie Day to play a character, or like because he works on it, he's just not in it. So
yeah,
I don't know.
I'd love to see him on it.
Yeah,
and Dennis and T. Actually, speaking of T, I watched her show. What's it called? Flipped, which is on Quibi. Quibi? Quibi? I don't know.
Quibi. It's Quibi.
Yes. I've never seen an ad for it, so I don't know how the fuck to say it.
They have ads over here,
Flipped. Yeah, there's 1 season out. It takes about, 100 minutes to watch the entire season, because each episode's only like super short, like 8 minutes or some shit. It's not bad. It's okay. It's pretty funny. It's really weird. I think it is a great example of how the format significantly damages what could otherwise, like, if these were 22-minute episodes. I think this show would be really good, because they'd actually be able to explore some stuff and maybe fucking take a moment to let a joke land. But instead, they can either start a thread and then drop it out of nowhere. Like, for example, Eva Longoria is in it.
Okay.
And she clashes with Caitlin Olsen, Dee from Always Sunny. She's the female lead in the show. She clashes, like, those two clash. Eva Longoria and Caitlin Olsen clash right? And then that's about, I don't know, fucking 30 seconds of one episode. And then I don't think you see her again. Like, it's just like, well, we don't have time to explore where that's going. Let's just fucking move on. And like they jump ahead fucking 18 months. And you're like, yeah, there probably would have been something funny in some of that, but I guess we'll just fucking move on. And yeah, they just fucking leap through all these things, and like, wow, if this is 22 minutes long, it might actually be good, but instead it's 8, and it's kind of shit. It's literally just enough time to do the gags, and they're funny.
Yeah,
like it's funny. It's just narratively garbage.
but like that is
meanwhile, you
that
take something like-
medium. That's that platform. That's what they're going for.
But that's the thing, right? Like Eagleheart was, Adult Swim does all these like 10-minute long shows.
Sure.
And like, Eagleheart is a great example of a 10-minute long show where if it was any longer, you'd be like, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't watch this. But because it's only 10 minutes, you're like, I'm going to watch all of this. And it is hysterical, but also the dumbest fucking shit you've ever seen. And what else is there? Children's Hospital's only 10 minutes. Like, there are ways to do it, and it feels like, I don't know, the whole fucking platform feels like a thing where they never really worked out. They were just like, oh yeah, we'll greenlight anything. Didn't they spend like $2.7 billion?
They spent a fuckload of money on it. Yeah.
And it seems like what they did is they greenlit a bunch of regular ass shows, and then they're like, oh, by the way, it's only 8 minutes. And some of these shows must have just like grabbed the scripts and like picked pages out at random. And
it's the
like,
summarize button in Microsoft Word that they've used.
yeah, that's what it is.
Like, well, here's our new script.
Perfect.
Oh wait, this one's still too long. Let's summarize it again.
Double summarize.
Yeah.
Go. Anyway, that's the TV podcast.
That is it. Should we talk about some games now? Let's kick off with Ghost of Tsushima. I'm still playing that. I got a new stance, a ghost stance. Have you seen this one yet? Where
no,
you basically either when you kill a leader or you take down a certain amount of enemies without getting hit, then you enter this like ghost mode, and it like sort of changes the screen color, and every time you kill someone it's like a one-shot kill and the screen like flashes red. Just like really surprising, because I've spent a lot of time in that game and it's just throwing like another thing at me that I haven't seen before. I feel like maybe that's the last one it's gonna do though, because I'm still like halfway through Act 2 at this stage. And I just wanted to bring up a tweet that I remember seeing during the week from a lead game designer at Avalanche Studios, who talked about, I don't know if you saw this one going around, but basically like reviewers didn't give sort of like enough praise to the game, saying that it wasn't innovative. And and basically like, I guess his point was that reviewers kind of just passed it off as being pretty generic. I don't know, and I don't agree with that statement at all, considering the game is like a mid-80s on Metacritic. I thought that game, maybe in my opinion, got too much praise. Like not too much praise. I mean, like it's too high in where I would rank it in a review scale. But I don't think I saw people being out there like saying that it wasn't innovative. I think it was more like the innovation in the game was sort of picking certain areas and being like, oh, we're going to do this, and then other areas where you're like, man, there's like Assassin's Creed, I guess, is going to be the main example I point to here, but like they fixed that sort of thing games and games ago. So like the way that the game Ghost of Tsushima doesn't have like a waypoint system or like a thing on the screen that is telling you which way to go, rather than having a marker, it's like, oh, the wind direction will show you where you should be running. And I think that is really cool. Although sometimes stylistically it sort of brings you out of that moment. I think they go a little bit too hard on it on some situations. I don't like the like really hard white wind effect that they throw in there every once in a while. And it just kind of brings you out of that moment. But I do like the like, where am I supposed to go? Like, I think it's one of the few games where I don't have to bring up the map all the time and be like, oh, am I going the right direction? Okay, cool. This is the right way. And also by having that HUD be so clean, like they don't need a map on the screen or a mini map, because it's basically there's nothing on the screen while you're riding around. It's only when you get in a fight where it brings up like your little HUD elements, but otherwise everything is extremely clean. And the way that you know where you're going is by looking at the wind direction. I think it does an excellent job at like that sort of thing. But then you go into other areas and it's like the one that I think of the most is the you're in a quest or a mission and you go too far away from where you're supposed to be, and it's like you need to get back into this area, and you get like a countdown. I don't know if you've seen this a bunch, but I have.
Yeah.
And it really brings you out of it, because you feel like, I remember one mission I was in, and I was actually in like a enemy encampment, and it wanted me to go a specific way, but I was like, oh no, I'm going to go around this side and explore over here. And I was literally still in the camp, maybe 10 meters from where I was, like, where I just got given the objective. And I walked a different direction, and it was like, no, you're going the wrong way. And it flashed up on the screen, like, you've got 10 seconds left. And I'm like, that is like, who
I
does
had it
that?
when I was like, I like jumped in and like there was like a 2-stage like camp. I can't remember who. I think it was for the chick whose family got murdered, and like I fucking like belted through, murdered everyone, and I like just finished stabbing this the like chief to death, and I've got to go to the next area, and I haven't even looted. I haven't had the opportunity. Like, I have caused so much carnage, and all I did was like just fucking like come get it. Like, let's just fucking do this shit all at once, and it's fucking kill, and then I turned back to go like loot the dudes who were just back down the path a bit that I'd like murdered first, and I got you're heading in the wrong direction. Turn back. You've got 10 seconds. I'm like, hold up. Like, do I get to loot these motherfuckers, or do I have to just fucking push forward? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like,
Or when you're going from point A to point B and you're with somebody and you see like a bamboo tree not on the path, but outside the path, and like, I'll try and ride off and get that, and it's like, you must return to your follower, and it's like, oh, all right, like, I can literally see the guy. So like that sort of stuff, where like I think there is innovation in that game. The way that it dishes out side missions, and like it doesn't feel like I'm overwhelmed by all this stuff on the screen. Like I think it does that really well. When you go into one of your camps and you talk to somebody and they give you like a rumor, and you can go do that mission now, or like they'll sort of uncover parts of the map. Like that stuff is really cool. But then there's other things in the game that they haven't taken innovation that other games have done in an open world genre, and haven't run with that. So I think it's completely unfair to say that to call out reviewers and saying, you know, they haven't given this game enough praise and all that sort of stuff. I just completely do not agree with that statement at all.
That's ludicrous. I didn't see this, but
I saw that it had like 5,000 or 6,000 likes and 1,200 retweets or something like that a couple of days back. And maybe I'm reading into it too much. Maybe he just meant purely. I don't know where he's read these reviews. Obviously, could have just been one person. I don't know, but I think it's unfair to call out reviewers and say that labeling Ghost of Tsushima as not innovative is not cool. But anyway, like that's just like there's a bunch of stuff that I think the game does extremely well, but then it just hasn't learned from some of the stuff we've seen, where like it sort of pushes the genre forward in certain ways, but also it hasn't taken what your Assassin's Creeds have done and sort of tried to implement
I've gotten
that.
bored with it in the exact same way that I got bored with the old versions of Assassin's Creed.
Right. How many times have you followed footprints? It feels like it's every second mission for me where I have to follow footprints in the ground.
Right? Or like, how the fuck are there hard fail stealth missions in this game? How the fuck are there hard fail stealth missions in any game anymore? But no, they exist. And yeah, you gotta deal with that. Like, fuck that shit. Are you fucking kidding? I cannot believe I still have to go through that shit. I've hated it since 2007. Since I first started doing this shit. That's fucking bananas. I'm just fucking... Yeah, like, it does... Some of the stuff it does has been fixed for so fucking long that it is crazy to think that it still exists. And yeah, like I said, I've stopped playing it pretty much. I'm bored of it in the exact same way that I got bored of Assassin's Creed games. Eventually, the loop is laid bare, and you're like, well, all right, I do want to know how this story ends.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to repeat the same 4 actions until I get there, you know?
It seems like you can mainline it pretty easily, though. Like those gold quests, you can kind of just go for them straight away. Just list them out to you. Here's what the things you want to do, and if you do them, that's cool. And these are on the map. We'll show exactly where they are. But also, if you explore a little bit, you can go and do these other things as well. So I mean that's kind of cool that you can kind of just mainline it if you want to. So I'm still having fun with it. I just wish that it wasn't so front loaded in, like, I feel like I've gotten most of the stuff that the game is trying to give me. I'm just accumulating skill or technique points now and chucking them into, wherever I want to go. There's like a bunch of different stance trees that you can put points into. There's stealth trees that you can put stuff into, which I'm not bothering because I think the stealth is terrible. I'm focusing all on like damage and stances, but it just seems like I've unlocked like that new stance that I got. That's not actually, you don't really know what's coming. It is in one of the trees, but it's kind of hidden. You don't actually know it's a stance. That seems like the last thing because there's nothing else in any of those trees that I can see. I still have fun with the game. I'm just like, I just wish it was a lot better than what it is. There's just too many things there. I'm like, oh, this is a bit old. It feels like a old take. But I'd definitely be interested to see what they do if they made a sequel, like what that would look like the mistakes they'd learn from it, and just how that sort of thing evolves. Because I think it's a decent game. I enjoy it, but just it's not.
Oh yeah, I definitely think it's a good game.
Yeah.
But like you said, yeah, it makes mistakes that have been, and I think I just don't have the patience for it, to be honest. I could I think the worst thing is that I'm not going to see how it ends. I could probably squirrel it up and watch some fucking highlight videos on YouTube, I guess, but generally I don't roll that way.
Yeah. They added an easier mode. I don't know if that is something you could look at.
I don't think it's going to matter. Like, my problem isn't that the combat is difficult to the point. Like, it is. My problem is that, like, the combat is simplistic enough. Like, I think I've been over this before, but like, there's a difference between simple and easy. And it's not that it's not easy. It's just simple. When I've dropped it to the difficulty that I have, and when I raise it above that difficulty, I find it tedious, frustrating, not difficult, just annoying when things I know should have worked don't work, or when I get killed because of things outside of my control. I just I don't want, I find that frustrating, and I've got no fucking patience for being frustrated in that way. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, let's move on to Superhot Mind Control Delete. I'm still playing this. I jumped in the last couple of days, did some missions. Jumped in today, did some more missions. Have you managed to check out any more of it? I've seen you played a lot more than me, like at least 2 more hours.
Well, because I had it, in early access and all that kind of stuff, I don't know if I can continue to play this game. First things first, last week I was talking about how I had 3 hearts and you had 2 hearts. I won't tell what my mistake was. I thought I didn't realize you were selecting a core until I got the next core. I thought you just those were
Those
the
are your
cores that
abilities.
you were using. Yeah. And it just didn't occur to me that I was never able to fucking teleport to cunts. But yeah, like anyway, I can't stand any of the meta narrative in this game, and every time it happens, I turn the fucking game off. Like I just don't. I'm like, oh, do I really have to go through this? Just cool. Well, I don't want to fucking play anymore. Like it is so fucking on the nose. It is so fucking like philosophy 101 pretentious horseshit, and I've got just zero time for it. I do not fucking care. And every time, oh yeah, okay, well, I've got to walk up this corridor, and it's gonna fucking walk me back a bunch of steps. Yeah, cool. Well, thanks for nothing. Like, I guess I'm done then. None of this shit existed in early access. Sadly, this game was better in early access, in my opinion. It was better when none of this fucking garbage existed. Superhot, the fucking concept behind Superhot, gets in the way of the gameplay of Superhot 100%. I can't actually recall a game where this has happened, like with this has been more prominent, where the everything around a game has gotten more in the way of the game itself. Like, it is ludicrous. I fucking hate it.
Like, you finish a series of levels and it throws you back to the main menu, and you've got to go into the game again and then up those levels. Like, you got to like a bunch of menus. It's just like,
yeah,
why couldn't I just be where I was before?
Right? It's oh yeah. Oh, you shouldn't be playing this game. Okay, fair enough, cunts. I won't. My only regret is that you have my money for this. Like, that's about it.
Because you kicked it on a Kickstarter. Backed it on a Kickstarter. Sorry, not because it is a free update, but you're the one that gave the money, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, cool. Well, fuck it. Anyway.
Yeah, I got a bunch of new abilities today and yesterday. One of them is like when you get a headshot, the bullet follows to another target and like automatically hits them.
Last week. Yeah, that was fucking ridiculous.
That's what I'm using at the moment. And the other one was that I just got where people can't like melee you or like close combat, and so you kind of just take the damage. I guess it's helpful for the guys that explode when you kill them, and they just kind of like a bunch of ricochets will just come out of them, and you got to kind of try and dodge them.
So you don't take any damage at close range. Yeah, right.
But otherwise, yeah, I'm still sort of working my way through that game. I'm enjoying like parts of it. Like I said last week, it's the kind of game where I'll jump in and I'll play 30 minutes. I'll do like 2 levels and I'm out. Like, I can't sit there any longer than that. It's too much. Anyway, we'll go next up. A couple of your games here. Call of Duty.
Call of Duty Warzone. Oh my god, I actually played regular Call of Duty for a bit, Luke.
Yeah, why?
I had to get 3 kills while sliding.
Okay.
3 kills with a knife while sliding. And I had to do that in 15 different games. And Nate worked out a great way to do it. You load up shipment 24/7 and you just do it there. The only problem is, I ran into like a couple of games, not every game, but like my first couple of games, I think my first 2 games had the majority of players were using the fucking auto shotgun. And like, honestly, if your idea of a good time is to load up shipment 24/7 and equip an auto shotgun and then like run around spamming nonstop, like, fucking hell, you depress me. Yeah, like I just it makes me really sad on the inside. Like at the core of my being, you make me really sad. Because what the fuck are you doing with your life? I don't want to go all Joe Rogan here, but like, What the fuck are you doing? So sliding up on people to stab them with a knife is extremely difficult when they have an auto shotgun, especially when they're on console and the fucking auto aim helps them fucking track you past the slide. But after that, yeah, I managed to get it done. It was tedious as fuck, and I hated every single second of it. You know what I don't understand is how does a map like Shipment exist in Call of Duty? How does a map like that exist? The amount of times I got killed, like as I was spawning, like literally spawning in and taking damage while spawning, and then unable to take a single step before I was dead. And there is supposed to be spawn protection, but it just doesn't work sometimes. How does that exist? How does a fucking multi-million-dollar fucking franchise, a fucking billion-dollar franchise, have the worst map in all of history, and B, like such sloppy fucking coding that it doesn't even fucking work the way it's supposed to? Such sloppy fucking respawns that you can literally respawn in front of people or have people respawn in front of you. Like what I like is that like when I'm being fucking murdered because there's a fucking helicopter just shooting where I'm standing before I fucking spawn, right? When I die to that, that's, spawn protection doesn't work. But when some dude spawns in front of me, right, and I've got a knife out and I start stabbing him and it does nothing and he turns around and shoots me, yeah, no, that's when spawn protection is fucking banging. It's fucking popping off at that moment. Perfect. Yeah, not just a really fucking well-made game, Like, I feel like they really earned their $1 billion. Anyway, so apart from, like Modern Warfare basic multiplayer is the worst of all time. And Warzone, I haven't played in fucking forever, but Nate had this idea. I think he must have gotten it. I think he watches a lot of like YouTubers and stuff. He must have gotten from one of them. I think I miscredited him on Twitter as inventing the meta, but I didn't mean to. I'm not aware of where metas are coming from, I guess. Anyway, the idea is you equip a shield and a knife, but we upgraded to the Kali sticks, and you murder cunts non-stop, and it is fucking phenomenal. It is hilarious. It is the most disgusting shit you've ever seen in your life. Like, people just fucking, holy shit. People like just die. They fucking can't do anything about it, right? If they, like, obviously over, it's the same thing that you've always said, and it's even more true when you've only got Kali sticks. If there's any kind of range involved, it is exceptionally difficult to do anything to the other party. But if it's close quarters, you're fucked. Like, everyone who comes up against this in close quarters dies without fail. They can't stop it. We've been doing like fucking 25, 26 kill games as a pair. Like, because we bounce from close quarters area to close quarters area, and if we get caught in the middle, running out in the open, we just fucking shield up and fucking sprint for cover. We get in cover, they hunt us down, and once they get in the fucking building, they're dead every single fucking time. They get stunned, they get thermoted, they get bashed to death. Stick. We've been like third partied and fourth partied, and it doesn't matter. Like, they're dead. Like, it is ridiculous. I've never seen anything so revolting in my life. You can't do anything about it. Even like when you've got the sticks on, we've been like, it still blocks damage. So if you need to make that last 5 meter push, you run, jump, and turn to block the bullets, and then turn back and fucking snap them. And it works. It is disgusting. So yeah, more evidence that the shield is heinously broken, but also a lot of fun, hideously fun. I don't know how. Again, I don't know how. This exists in the game. Like, there's been no balancing to rectify this situation, because I still believe the shields are way too powerful. But yeah. Anyway, the other thing I noticed is I think we got fucking like, we've been getting 26 kill games, but more recently, I think our last game yesterday was like a 18 kill game, and the lower numbers I think are because we're coming up against our skill based matchmaking is rising. We didn't place out of the top 10. Except for we had one game where we placed out. We kind of just fucking we potatoed. We landed at Superstore. We got a couple of kills and then got fucking jumped. And then we decided to go back to Superstore when we won the Gulag, and it was just not a good idea. So yeah, I think we placed 26th on that one. But after that, yeah, outside of that, we haven't placed outside of the top 10, and I think 90% of them are top 3. And so our skill-based matchmaking has been climbing. And we started seeing hackers. And before that, we weren't seeing any hackers. And all we were seeing were these potatoes. But what I've noticed is when you're in the low skill-based matchmaking pool, people are having fun. And when you're in the high skill, people are not having fun. That's what I think I've noticed, right? Yeah. Because when we were running up on motherfuckers and beating them to death with sticks, you hear their comms, they are cackling. They're fucking losing their minds. They think it's the funniest shit of all time. And then you get to the last game we played, when we got 18 kills, everyone was so fucking salty. They're like, oh, the fucking camping dog, and then cut off, or the fucking bullshit with the fucking cut off, or shield cut fucking, and you're like, what is? I'm gonna go back to the I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose on purpose, but I would like to go back to the skill-based matchmaking pool where everyone was having a good time. Be like, this guy's just, or, and you're like, these people down here seem fun. These people up here seem like they're not having as much fun as the people who are losing a lot. And yeah, it's pretty weird. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Obviously slapping Bambinos is more fun than having to get as sweaty as the least sweaty person in a sweaty server, but yeah. Anyway. Yeah. I've definitely noticed, yeah, there seems to be a point where people really stop having fun, and yeah, the matchmaking seems to be tied to it, which is a shame. But I can relate to it because God knows I've raged out at games before. So what can you do?
Yeah, I'll have to jump in and check out this the colored sticks. Try and get them.
Oh, it's gonna suck. So much fucking shit.
I'm pretty good at it. Take me 10 minutes.
It's 10 minutes. All right.
You talk about this next game, and I'll go get them. Just give me one.
Yep. All right. What else we got? Caves of Quad. Cud, I guess. I don't know. I grabbed this game. I saw a big fucking updates coming for it, and it reminded me a lot of a game I played growing up called Excelsior. And except this is a roguelite. I actually really appreciate the ASCII style, the original rogue / NetHack style roguelites. And this one is apparently extremely story based and very complex, and has a lot going on and into it. And I was mostly what appealed to me the most was the techno fantasy mashup style thing that it has going on. It's it's a fantasy world, but with technology, sci fantasy, I guess is the term. Yeah, robots and cyborgs and augments and cyberpunk type shit, but also magic and goblins and orcs and shit. And yeah, that sort of really appealed to me. And I jumped in to check it out, and I was almost immediately fucking off it. And I think my problem is that it reminds me of fucking Malazan. That's Steven Erickson fucking series. Malazan, the Malazan series. I can't fucking remember the full fucking title. Malazan. Let's just pop fucking quick Google search. Book of the Fallen. Malazan, Book of the Fallen. My problem with Malazan, the reason I stopped fucking getting into it was because it was so fucking dense. Like, there's so much to fucking learn, like, just to get to a base level. Like, Malazan opens on some shit like you've never fucking heard before, and you're like, holy shit, yeah, this sounds fucking cool. And you're like on some fucking, I think you're on like a fucking battlefield, and like everyone's getting fucking murdered by some crazy fucking dogs, and the dog turns into a person or something, and they go into a portal or something, and the twin gods of luck come help someone with a coin or something, and then you're like, cool, this all sounds cool. I have like I'm fucking about this. So let's just check, and like you're like 2 pages in, and you're like, hold up, is the rest of this book's like 700 pages long? Is the rest of this like this? Like, is it that condensed? Not condensed. Like, is that dense? Like, fucking, I'm learning like the fucking, and these dudes are the gods of luck, and this guy is friends with the gods of luck, and this guy's a dog or something, and like I think this guy's the bad guy, or maybe now we're in a fucking castle or something, and something's happened over here, but this guy died, and I think this guy's a fucking marionette doll. I'm not sure. And you're like, all right, well, I can't fucking do this. I can't, like, it's not going to work. I don't have the attention span for this. I'm afraid.
I need the movie. Where's the movie?
Where's the Quibi version? Give me the Quibi version. No, yeah, like I just couldn't fucking do it. And I feel that they're very similar in Caves of Quad or Cud or whatever the fuck. Because yeah, like you start off and it's like, make a character. I'm like, okay, I'll make a character, and it's got like the full regular like D&D style. You know, you add points into all your attributes, and you're like, it'll be like intelligence helps you with mutations based on the mind, and also this and this and this and this, and you're like, I'm tracking how much now, and that's just one of the 8 things you can put stuff into, and you're like, and you go down the list, and you're like, well, I don't fucking know where to put any. I don't know how. Why would I know where to put any of these fucking? I'll just fucking put points. I'll put even points across the board, and then it's like, you should start in this place, and you start in this place, and you go talk to a dude, and you got to fucking press L and then cursor over him with the direction pads to have a look at him, and he's the warden, and blah blah blah, and people in this city don't trust him because he stole all their like sheep or something, and you would never be able to defeat him in a fight, and people in this city love him because he's revered for being a protector, and you're like, what am I supposed to do with this information? What does any of this mean to me? That's the tutorial town. And all it tells you is make sure you look at people and go talk to this merchant guy to go get some basic goods. It doesn't tell you what basic goods are or what you need. It just tells you to go get some. And you're like, I am not equipped to do this. Like, I feel like you'd need a fucking university course just to start playing this fucking thing. Like, you'd need fucking 4 terms at least of study, because like all throughout this, like I skipped over picking a perk, but like sometimes some of the perks, like if you get horns on your head, goat people will really like you. And you're like, is that something I want? Do I want goat people to really like me?
Yeah.
Or if you get like stone arms, rock people will really, and you're like, are there rock people? Is this useful? Like, I've got no fucking idea. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, it's very, like, it's too much, and there's no fucking introduction. There's not even a fucking, like, to say it's the tutorial town is to dramatically oversell it. Like, yeah, I'm just way out of my depth. And you're way out of your depth before you've even started your first character.
Yeah.
And I think that might not be the best plan I've ever heard.
Like back in the day where you'd buy a PC game and it would come with a thick, like 80-page book, and you'd read the book on the way home in the car, and then by the time you got home, you knew a bunch of stuff, and you start the game, and like, I'm ready to play Civilization now. There's no book.
There's no book. I've got no book. And it feels like if this was a book, it would be written by Steve Erickson, and it would be as dense as the Malazan series. And I'd be like, well, I got no fucking idea. Anyway. Yeah. So, anyway, that's Cabs of Pod. I didn't really play it all that much.
Cool. Next up, you got Idol Slayer. This is one that I saw on Steam as well, but I haven't checked it out yet. What do you think? What is it, I guess?
I've been playing it on my phone. It is an idle, I don't know, adventure game, sort of. It's like you've got a little guy. He's always running sideways.
Yep.
He's always running, and you tap the screen to make him jump, and you collect the coins. And sometimes there's enemies for you to chop, and that is about it. Over enough time, you upgrade your weapons, and that earns you that earns you passive gold. Upgrade your items, and you get all kinds of all these little things that you upgrade, and it's basically just an idle game in that sense.
Sorry, did you pay for it on the phone, or is it free?
No, free.
Okay, so you have to pay for it on PC.
Right. It's ad supported, but it just seems to be ads. Like, I think you get like a bonus amount of passive income when you're true idle. You know, when the application is off, you get like passive income, and I think you get bonus if you watch an ad.
Yep,
when it's off. So yeah, it gets interesting when you prestige, because you get these points, and you can invest these points into different areas, and they alter, like, you get like a percentage increase to your gains just by prestiging. So you got these points every time you kill an enemy, you get a soul, and once you get like 100 souls, you get like 1% extra to your prestige.
Right.
And obviously the number of souls required goes up over time, as you progress. But also the other thing is, each of these percentage points also links into this sort of skill tree, and the skill tree allows you to augment in different directions, and you get to make the decisions on how that augment works. And you can sort of tailor it to your style of gameplay. So I've put a bunch of points into maximizing my idle time, so that, you know, obviously I can make a lot of progress while I'm not actually playing it, which I think makes sense based on the way I play idle games. And I think that's pretty interesting. I haven't hit a wall yet. It seems to be pretty like consistent with its progress, and I think it works out pretty good. I definitely recommend it as a phone game. I think it works really well as a phone game.
All right. Yeah, I think it's about $4 or $5 at the moment on Steam. It's on sale because it only just came out about 2 days ago. But yeah, I might check it out on the phone.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, next up we got a game that I was playing called Kill It With Fire Heatwave. This is
Right.
a demo that's currently available because the full game comes out soonish, and it's basically like a game where you're in a house and you're looking for spiders, and you have to kill spiders using the various objects around you or things that you find. And as you kill the spiders, you unlock new weapons and things like that, and open different doors in this room that you're in until eventually you kill a certain amount of spiders and they'll let you escape the room. And that's kind of like the level. And there's a bunch of levels in the demo that they've got. I think there's about three. Um, and as you jump into each level, you've got like a checklist that you need to work your way through. It could be something basic like kill 10 spiders. And so you got to go through this house and pick up objects, and you can interact with them and spin them around. And sometimes there's a spider on the back of them, and they'll try and run away and crawl on the floor and go and hide somewhere else. So it's just about like finding these spiders and dealing with them. And then there's other objectives that it kind of throws at you as well. Some of them are secret. Some of them require you like to do a certain amount of things before it kind of triggers, or they'll just be hidden around the environment. You kind of find them written down somewhere, you pick them up, and it adds it to your objective list. And so, yeah, you eventually can check everything off, go to the next level, and then there's also like a skill point system as well that you get after completing objectives. And on the main menu, you can go level up those skills and abilities. Very basic sort of game. It's just pretty much killing spiders, different types of spiders you will interact with. It's like a very basic, like one shot kill sort of spider, and then there's ones where you'll kill one and a bunch of little spiders come out of them. I saw one that jumps at you, so you'll love that one. It's a jumping spider. There's like a camouflage spider, and it will sort of take on the same color as the object that it's on, so it kind of makes it a little bit harder to see. But otherwise,
Nice.
you kind of just running around killing spiders with these weird objects, and you get like you can pick up like a book, or you get like a frying pan later on, and then it starts going really crazy with like hairspray, flamethrower, shotguns, machine guns, and it kind of just escalates from there. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like it's a very cool sort of short demo game. I am curious to see like what that full game sort of looks like, because um I had fun playing what I
Yeah.
played, but I don't know if it will like translate well to a full game, like an actual paid game. Because it's about
The sort
15
of ghost
bucks.
simulator,
Yeah.
surgeon simulator conundrum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like, because like those three levels kind of had some cool things to drag you in, and sort of like, oh, here's some new weapons and new ways to deal with stuff. But like, how many levels are there? Like, how much does it escalate? Is it kind of just the same thing over and over again? Yeah, that's kind of where I'm interested to see if it can sort of last a little bit longer than what it is. But otherwise, it's a pretty cool demo. It's a really interesting like game. There's not there's not a lot of games I've seen sort of like this, where you sort of what's that, like a uh fuck, I can't think of it. Like an object finding game. We played a couple of them. Really like the
Uh,
bush, the shrubbery. Um,
um, that was Suicide Survival.
yeah, what do you call those
Prop hunt.
types of
Prop hunt.
games? Prop hunts. Yeah, it's sort of like a prop hunt type of thing, but you're not looking for weird, mysterious props. You're looking for spiders on objects, and like while they're
Yeah.
hiding around the environment, like you'll pick up a frame on the wall with a picture, and you turn it around, and there's a fucking spider on it. Or you open up a drawer, or lift up like a pillowcase from the bed, and there's a spider under it just sitting there, like that sort of stuff. And eventually, like, you just tear apart these rooms. There's just stuff everywhere. You're picking up TVs, throwing TVs around, throwing bookcases, setting things on fire, and all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of like a prop hunt without the multiplayer side. You're kind of just looking for the things in the environment. Um, Yeah. So I don't know. I had fun with it. It's on Steam if people want to check it out. It's a free demo. It's called
Cool.
Kill It With Fire Heatwave. And I think it's due out quite soon for full release, I feel like. Launch date and new demo. It's launching August 13th. So in about 2 weeks.
Cool.
Yep. And that was that. What else we got here? Blightbound. Do you want to introduce this
Blightbound.
one?
So this was it open beta? Closed beta? Closed beta. Last weekend, and it's a 3-player co-op, I guess, dungeon crawler, side-scrolling dungeon crawler. Like a beat 'em up. Like fucking Golden Axe, or what was that D&D game from back in the day? I can't remember. Something Knight, Shining Sword, or something. I don't know.
Double Dragon. I don't know.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, the medieval ones, like Golden Axe, and there's definitely a D&D anyway. Yeah, so it's that sort of game, and you've got there's 3 characters at least. There were 3 characters available in the beta. One's a healer, one's a tank, and one's a damage dealer.
Yep.
And you go in, and the idea is to, kill everything.
Yeah.
There's bosses, there's loot, and you go through and try to get whatever loot you can that allows you to upgrade your character. It's sort of like rifts in Diablo, without all the precursor. It seems like that's how the beta played out, at least. I don't know if there is a campaign or anything, but you jump in and you try to get through the rift.
Yeah.
And it requires 3 players, so it's not like a up to 3 players or anything. It is built for 3 players, and you can't play it without 3 players. If there's only 2 of you, like there was only me and Luke, it will find a 3rd player for you.
Yep.
It seems to randomly assign roles. I wasn't able to pick my role as far as I could tell, but there's a lot that I can fucking work out about this game, if I'm being honest. Because the other thing that it does is it appears to jack the fucking difficulty up 8 levels above what you're capable of fucking playing, and then it requires you to do your best to do anything at all about that, because we got fucked repeatedly, and I have no idea what we were supposed to do. We were just the first one we jumped in, we were dead to the first mobs.
Just the first thing that hit us.
The first thing that hit us murdered all 3 of us. And that was it. And I was party lead, and I'm trying to get you guys to pick the fucking. There was this question mark box, and if we picked the question mark box, it was normal, and I think it would randomly select a level for us to do that was at our at a level that we were capable of, because it had underneath it had a random, and then it said how difficult it would be, and it said normal, and then under there were 3 boxes next to it, and all 3 of these boxes would say I don't know, the killing fields, and underneath it would say its difficulty, and that difficulty was impossible, and then the elevator and difficulty impossible, and I'm motherfuckers, please pick the question mark. Pick the question mark. Pick the thing that says normal. And every single time, you and the fucking rando that we were matched with would pick the impossible. Oh, well, okay. Yep. Let's go to the fucking elevator, I guess. What was surprising to me was that that elevator quest, despite being impossible, we got fucking pretty far in that. We were doing pretty well.
Yeah.
We eventually died. I think there was a bit of lag because I was getting hit by those lasers, and I don't think I should have been. So I felt like there was a bit of lag going on there. I think we were on US West servers, and those lasers hit pretty hard. So yeah,
There
I
was
think that
definitely lag
comes.
when I was playing as well. There was like
Yeah.
it'd sort
So
of
that's
be like I'm not hitting anything, and then just kind of just speed up all of a sudden.
right. So that's not ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, we just, I don't know, doing our best to play the impossible. I
I
never
think we
really.
did impossible, and then the next one wasn't impossible, but it was still something stupid, like another
Yeah.
dumb name that had a bunch of skulls and things above it. Because on my screen, I couldn't see anything. It basically would come up with some sort of map, and I'm looking at it now. I know what it is, but it was like a triangle with a circle on it. It looked like an eye to me, or some sort of eye, but that's the logo. I'm guessing.
Right.
So that's all we
Okay.
could see on our screen. It wouldn't let me click on anything. Like I was clicking on stuff and it was just like a logo there. So I don't know if it was showing me what you were clicking on or what, but there was like nothing to select. It was kind of just a map with on the top right it said like impossible, like the thing that was selected. I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this. Fair enough. But
Right.
the guy that was with us seemed to be also extremely confused because
Oh yeah.
he was kind of just going
Yeah.
with it. He was in
At the
chat
start,
talking.
I thought we were getting dumped into impossible shit because he was super high level or some shit.
Yeah.
But no, he was a freshie as well. He had no idea what was going on. None of us had any idea what was going on. He was a pretty good sport though. I liked him. I don't remember his name. But yeah, we were just getting fucking blasted. We had no fucking hope. We were just fucked. But yeah, like it was, I don't know, it was weird. I believe it hits early access maybe this weekend. So maybe we can jump in and try it again.
Yep.
Like that way we'd be able to actually get a better idea of how it plays because yeah, we did not have. Oh,
We played
it's out now. It's out now in early access. So yeah, we'll see if we can jump in again and have a look at how it's actually supposed to work. Because yeah, based
we
on
literally
our
lasted 5 seconds in that first level.
yeah, based on the half hour we played where we were just getting fucked on constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Because it seems promising. Like it seems like there's a bunch of coordination is all you need to do, and I'm not sure how that's going to go on a like matchmaking side of like being able to talk to people, because I don't know if there was voice comms, but we were kind of just chatting in the window, and being able to be like, hey, I need a heal or something like that, because I think you were playing healer at one stage and I don't think you were doing anything, but
fuck off, mate. I was doing heaps. You guys kept moving out of the fucking circle, right? Look, it's got a cast time. So I'd cast it and you guys would fucking run away from the fucking area of effect where the fucking heal would go down. I'm like, well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do about that because I only get to fucking cast it once every fucking minute or so.
You should follow us around.
No, I'm just supposed to follow you guys around. Somehow predict where you're going to stay still for 4 fucking seconds so I can pop some heals on you.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have to jump in that a bit more because it was a bit confusing when we were playing. It seems like the way the loot system works is you get items and you sort of take them out of the dungeon with you, and then you could start equipping them on that like menu. But also it seems like there's certain items that can only be put on certain heroes as well, and so then you run into that issue of like, how do we select our heroes? Because it kind of just chucked us into a random one as far as we could tell, because it seemed like there was a bunch of avatars on the side that you can kind of select, but when I was selecting them it didn't do anything unless because someone else had
making it. Yeah, unless we were all picking the same fucking thing, and it was just like,
couldn't really tell.
well, you're going fucking random then, boys. Sorry, people. Yeah. I don't know. It was very confusing, but I'm very keen to play it again. I did find it like extremely entertaining. But like outside of the entertainment, I felt at being completely fucking dicked all up and down that fucking platformer. I was intrigued as to how it was supposed to fucking work as well. Because yeah, it seemed pretty interesting.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be 9 heroes in early access as well.
9. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Right. That was Blightbound. Early access is now available. We got Fall Guys. Fall Guys in the building. I was not expecting this game at all. I didn't know what it was at when I got the key.
Right.
So when I fired it up and started playing it, because you and I jumped in, and it's not what I expect. Like it's basically like a Wipeout or like one of those sort of
Takeshi's
games.
Castle.
Yeah, Takeshi's Castle, where there's a bunch of contestants and they're going through a series of different series of games and eliminating other players until there's a winner.
Yep.
And it's ridiculously fun. It's very cool. There's you kind of like these little blobby, colorful dudes, and you're working from. Sometimes it could be a race. Other times it's team-based games. But it's sort of like this elimination format where you progress through levels, eventually trying to get to be the winner out of the. I think it's 60 players. It starts off with as the max.
Yep.
It's
it used to be 100, but they whittled it down to 60. They found that was more fun.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. It's very simplistic. There's your movement controls. There is like a jump button. There is a dive button and a grab button, and that is pretty much all you need to know. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, we jumped in for a couple of games. I think we were playing on US servers. I'm not really sure.
I'll be honest, I didn't notice any difference between US and Oz servers. They both felt kind of laggy. So I think it was US based on the matchmaking time alone. But yeah, I don't know one way or the other. It didn't impact. It also didn't impact the game.
Sure.
It appears to be like some of these games, right? Truly imagine Takeshi's Castle, right? Like full blown, like you're or Wipeout. Like you are legit going through these obstacles, and there's like rotating like arms or like spinning fucking turnstiles or
platforms.
Yeah, like all these kinds of things. So there's absolutely there is room for this game to bone zone you, but it appears to take your actions. Like there's not a lot of times where you're directly interacting with other players. Like you can grab other people, and there's the egg game where you're grabbing eggs. But most of the time, what you're doing is relative only to you. And so the game does a good job of like making sure your actions are relative to you. So I guess I'm thinking about, the final, there's the jumping game where you have to jump over a bar that spins around, and there's a bigger bar, and you've got to sort of manage those two things.
Yeah.
And the platforms drop away. It's not like there's lag that will like result in you falling to your death because the arm wasn't where it was supposed to be or something. Like your position relative to obstacles in the game is always seems to be replicated very well.
Sure.
Maybe it's just directly communicating with the client or something, or taking whatever the client says to be legit, which often doesn't work in shooters and stuff, but is, I suppose, mostly fine in a game like this until hackers ruin it somehow. They'll find some way. Yeah, like it doesn't seem to, like, because you're not doing things that impact other players, the latency doesn't seem to have that big an impact, I think, in my opinion. Yeah, I think the biggest impact it has is sometimes when you'll see people jump over the arm, or like on your screen, they won't make the jump, and then they did on their screen, so they move back into the position, and that's probably the most that you'll see out of the latency. Anyway, yeah, I don't think the server didn't really matter all that much. 60 players being match made into a game. I actually think there were bots. I think they had bots in some of these games, if I'm being honest. Only because I saw people wearing skins that weren't available. I think it just auto grabs from the greater skin pool. So yeah, you'd wind up seeing people wearing some of the outfits that wouldn't eventually be available, but weren't immediately available.
All right.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Because I know there were skins on the battle pass they had.
Yeah, but
or whatever it was.
But yeah, you'd see the dinosaur and stuff, and there's no dinosaur on the battle pass.
Right. Maybe it was dev.
Anyway, maybe. It didn't really matter. They had bots when I played it at PAX Australia last year, and it doesn't impact it. Like they just use it to fill it out. And I still find it unbelievably entertaining, regardless. The bots seem quite capable, and yeah, I don't think it really matters one way or the other. Honestly, obviously it'd be better if everyone was a person, but at the end of the day, in a game like this, like I said, most of the time you're not directly impacting or impeding anyone else's play, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah. Anyway, I played a fuck ton of it. I fucking loved it. Like, I played it for nearly 5 hours over the weekend. And yeah, I just couldn't get enough of it. I find it so fucking entertaining. I was just sitting there, like when we were playing together, it was a fucking laugh, right? Like it didn't matter how we were doing. I think we fucking lost.
We lost, yeah. But we kept watching.
Yeah, but we lost in like the first fucking round a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like our first couple of games, we didn't even make it out of the first round. Like we were just getting fucking smashed, and it just didn't matter. Like we're just having fun. I've got a recording of you and me, like literally being the fucking the last two dudes to get cut off. Like we're like you're fucking millimeters away from the fucking finish line, and I'm like half a step behind you, and we both missed the cutoff, like just barely. It was fucking funny as fuck. Yeah, because I think what makes it so entertaining is that like it's competitive in a way that it's not directly competitive. Like there are absolutely some directly competitive elements, but yeah, like most of the time, it's just sort of this goof. Like it's just goofy fucking round where like this goofy game where you just fucking see what happens, see what you can get away with, and I think it's fucking phenomenal. It does it so well. Yeah,
there's some cool like different types of levels in there. Like there's the races, so it's from point A to point B. You're kind of versing everybody else, but then it tries to mix things up with like team-based games. There's like a basically like a soccer game where there's two soccer balls and I guess like a Rocket League type situation. There's stuff where you're like pushing one ball from one side to the other, and it's like 3 different teams. There's like a tag game in there where there's I guess infected players, and you infect other players, and then the team that's the last one standing kind of wins, and the other team gets eliminated. Like you move on to the next round. Like there's a lot of variety there. I think that's where this game will sort of needs to keep its focus on, is the variety of the levels in the games and have consistency in delivering like fresh new levels. Because I don't know how much more legs it's kind of got in terms of if it's just here's our game and then they just don't do anything with it. Like if it's just more skins and things like that, like they've got to be adding more stuff all the time. Like that roulette wheel, it spins around. It's like here's your level. I feel like that needs to be pretty consistent of like, here's another level, like every couple of weeks or at least once a month or something like that.
Yeah, I do think that the longevity of the game will hinge very heavily on its ability to continue pumping out that content. I don't know how difficult it is to create a new game. Whether or not, like, you know, I think the races would probably be pretty easy to make.
Yeah, just fill them out.
Yeah, like just, you know, some weird things for you to fucking like. They've got a good variety of them. Like some of them are There's one I don't like, the fucking balancing one. Like where you've got to go like the entire fucking race course is these platforms, but the platforms hinge in the center and they'll tip to the side that weighs more. And so you wind up in these situations where like you are sort of at the mercy of other players, because if you get to one and jump onto it and then like 40 other people jump onto the same side, there's no fucking way anyone behind that is just going to lift so that you can't actually jump onto it. And B, you have to go over the other side to jump off because like you're now like your side's now too low to get further across the race. And that one's particularly annoying because it seems very easy to slide off, like, and you reach this like point where it'll just drop you off, and it's very annoying to be dropped back. Like I think that was usually the longest race. Like I finished it like first once, but in the top 3 a couple of times, and the time you had to wait before it actually finished was quite long because so many people just had so much trouble actually finishing it.
Some of them take a while to finish.
Then there's another one where the entire track is a like conveyor belt heading back to the start, and so your only job is to get to the end, and it's not a long track at all, but it takes a while because the whole time it's like throwing pieces of fruit at you. And if you get hit by the fruit, you fall down, the conveyor belt takes you back towards the start, and you got to fucking like make all that ground back up again. That one's pretty entertaining. I actually like that one. What else? There was another one where there's another one that actually goes up a hill, and this water level rises the entire time. And if you fall, the water level gets to you before you pass an obstacle, you're out. And it's more of a survival than a race. I think there's a problem with that one. I can't work out how I lost on that one every single fucking time because I can't work out how to run like across when it's got those fucking like round platforms that you slide off. I've never successfully navigated the second part of one of those. I always fall off it. I just don't know how to fucking do it. Inevitably, that just means because there's no way past that obstacle without successfully completing it, I just lose every time. And I've got no idea what I'm supposed to do better. I've got no idea. Like I can't work out what I'm doing wrong, so I can't improve. I can't fix it to do better at it. So anyway, that one, but there's other races. There's like the spinning turnstiles, and there's the race for the crown at the end, and all that kind of stuff. Like it feels like they've got a good variety of races and stuff, and they've got a good idea of that stuff. So I think they could do a lot of those. Survival seems like it's probably an easy one as well. You know, the spinning arm and I think there are a lot of opportunities that they could rely on to create a bunch of different levels, but it will be important for them to do that. I find it, but like until then, like I said, I played it for 5 hours. The beta's back on this weekend, and I'll play it again 100% because
it's a great party game, but especially during when a lot of people are at home. It's a good quarantine party game. It's not like a good local co-op party game, couch co-op.
Yeah, exactly.
It's something very different. I like how the meta we saw evolutions of the meta as well, changing as throughout the weekend. The one that comes to mind is that pushing the ball, and like how that sort of evolved from when it was just like, we're pushing the ball, and now it's like, all right, you're fucking with other people in the game. And then the one that I saw from you was like jumping across to the other person's lane, which I think they'll probably change.
They have to block that. So you cannot be allowed to do that. Like I got that idea from you. because you basically. So I had been playing it where you just push the fucking ball in, and everyone races to push the ball the best. And then you put up a video where you jump down in front and you are actively stopping another team's ball down the. There's 3 lanes to start off with these balls, and then eventually it drops down into this I don't know area where everyone can commingle.
Yeah, it's just like a downwards ramp.
Yeah, the downwards ramp that ends in the goal, and you drop down to that immediately or quite early, and you're pushing another team's ball backwards as opposed to allowing pushing your own one forwards. I'm like, oh my god, that's genius. And so I decided to do essentially that, but by jumping into their lane, and it's so much more heinous. Like, your one was disgusting, and doing it while it's still in the lane is just revolting. It can't be allowed to continue.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one, there's the egg grab where you grab eggs from the center and you put them in your goal. But it is, I don't spend any time. I grab the first egg and I put it in my team, and then I'll spend the rest of the fucking.
Yeah.
I think it's better if you can pick one. You can't communicate with your team and you can't communicate with the other team, but if your team can specifically pick one team to steal eggs from, you can really you can fully disrupt them. And generally you'll have, so it's like red, blue, and yellow, and your team blue.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do is usually I'll see which team has the fewest eggs at the start, and I'll just go fucking run and steal their eggs. The trick there is if all of blue goes well, not all of, but most of the stealers go steal from red will never be able to overcome that, because there will be some of yellow stealing from red as well. Some of yellow will head for blue, and red will split between blue and yellow as well. But as long as you focus on one, you will be able to overcome the deficit. And it's just it winds up in this game of literally just, I don't even take them back to my base. I just throw them out of their fucking goal. My entire thing is just get it out of their goal. I don't care, because the point isn't for my team to have points. The point is for them to not have points. And yeah, it works. I have not lost a game of egg hunt or egg grab or whatever the fuck it's called. That strategy 100% works. There was another one where you wind up in a situation where it is far better to play offense than it is or it's far better to play against the other team than it is to play for your team. Your situation improves significantly if you do that, but I can't remember which one it is. Because a lot of the time, a lot of those games, there's team tail grab where everyone's got a tail. You can't really do anything about that one, right? Your opportunity for success is, you're sort of tied inexorably to your team's success. If your team can't get shit together and hold on to tails, you can't hold on to more than one tail. So as long as you hold on to your tail, you're doing your bit for your team, that's enough. But at the end of the day, if the rest of the players on your team can't get their shit together, you will lose. And that's that's just how it is. The hoop one as well, you got to jump through the rings that appear. You can't really do much about that one as well. You can jump through as many hoops as you can, but at the end of the day, it sort of comes down to whether or not your team is capable of jumping through hoops as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think. There's one more team game that I played where, it was obviously the ball down the lanes. You're way better off playing against the other team.
There's the soccer one that we watched where one dude was just constantly in the goal, he wouldn't leave. He was just blocking balls,
which was old school Rocket League meta, you would have someone play goalkeeper, and it would, in a 3-person game of Rocket League, it was far more efficient to do it that way. Way back in the day, I don't know how the meta's evolved in Rocket League now, but yeah, people wouldn't be able to do anything about it. That worked out pretty good. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. So what happened there was like we got knocked out, but we just stayed on to watch. And yeah, it was just like fucking, we were talking through, we were just like backing our favorite players and stuff, and talking about who we thought was going to win. And yeah, like that in itself was fun. Like I had fun watching other people succeed or fail. Like there are mini storylines, and you can create your own little storylines and stuff like that. And yeah, you wind up getting kind of attached. I'd love to see more robust spectator stuff. I'd love to be able to just jump into a game and spectate like from the fucking get-go, you know, like without having to, I don't know, lose first. Maybe just let me like join as a spectator, like just auto spectate or some shit. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah.
And like give me the ability to like control the camera myself and stuff like that. I would love it. I think the amount of stuff you could do with this game, if you had full spectator controls, like you could do some really entertaining shit. I think outside of just playing the game, I think you could really create something very entertaining, and that'd be fucking good. Yeah.
I had fun with it. I guess my only concern about it is the price at this stage. Like it needs a player base. It's $20.
Right.
Maybe,
but it's got crossplay.
It's got crossplay, which is awesome. And the other thing that they've done, obviously, is it's going to be the free game on the PlayStation Plus next month, which is huge. So that maybe is my only like, all right, cool. That's the one thing that you need to get this game like off the ground, is by making it free somewhere. Because my other initial thing about it's too expensive would be like, maybe it needs to be a free to play game, and the way they make their money is their cosmetics. But at the same time, then you run into things with like, what if it breaks out and there's just fucking cheaters everywhere and things like that. So maybe it needs a price tag on it. I just feel like the $20 mark is maybe, I don't know what it is in Australia, $28 or something like that, maybe. 20 US. Maybe a smudge too high. Maybe it should be $15-10, somewhere around there. I feel like is a sweet spot. But also, I don't know what the full game is like.
29. Yeah. I can't imagine that it's much more than what we've already seen. But yeah, like if you've got a PlayStation, it is a fucking no-brainer. Like straight up. Yeah. You absolutely want to play this. It is fucking phenomenal.
I'm sure we'll be having some games up there. We'll definitely jump in and check out some more of this.
Oh yeah. If we can get a bunch of people in Discord playing together, I think that'll be really fucking entertaining.
Yeah, it's hard to tell who you partied up with though. I don't think it gave us any indicators other than we kind of knew what skins we were wearing. That's about it.
Yeah. There is a tiny indicator. You get a tiny little red triangle over the other person in. Yeah.
Oh, that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can you don't want them.
Yeah, exactly. I reckon that'll be fucking hilarious. Yep.
Awesome. I'm very keen for that. That was a game that wasn't on my radar at all, but absolutely is now. Did you see that a bunch of Australians were playing, and Shuei Yoshida was in there playing as well?
No.
He put on Twitter he was jumping in for a while. I saw like some of the there was some Australian media that were playing, and he just happened to be in their game as well.
Oh, I missed it. Got it. Did you see that when I jumped into the other lane, the lane of another player or another team in that ball one, there was a streamer playing in that game?
I did. How did you find this?
He was not happy about it. I was actually doing this in between rounds of Fall Guys, but I had looked up you press L trigger and you can see everyone's name in the game, and I looked up who was like if people on Twitch,
Right.
just as a fucking goof, and yeah, he had been playing while it was all going on, and I'm like, all right, I recognize that name. Let's search it on Twitch. Yep, there it is, and then yeah, just scrolled through the video, the saved video, the VOD. Hilarious.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
It's gold.
Fall Guys. Next up, last game we got is Grounded, which is a early access free Game Pass game at the moment on the Microsoft Store, at least. It is available on other platforms such as Steam, where I believe you have to pay for it. I don't know how much it is. Let me check that one quickly. 29 US. So we're looking at about 45 Australian, somewhere around about there. It's a survival game where you are shrunken down in size in the backyard and have to, I guess, complete the story. There is some sort of story, but there's not a lot of story there right now because it is early access.
Yeah.
I think, like, we played obviously yesterday. It was me, you, Nate jumped in for a little while, and just kind of messed around for a couple hours and sort of get our like crafts in terms of what was going on in this game. There are a lot of survival mechanics, but in terms of like the overall gameplay, I think it is like it's a good base game, but where they're at the moment needs, I feel like, a lot of work. Like a lot of the survival stuff is really cool. The things you can find out in the world and the stuff you can build, it seems like it's really deep in terms of what you can do. But the gameplay seems a bit shallow at the moment. Like there's not a lot going on. There are like different enemy types out there. You start off with like a basic, very small ants. Then there are other things like lady beetles and cockroaches.
I don't think the ants are enemies necessarily. I mean,
there are some enemy ants.
Oh yeah, there's definitely enemy ants, but I don't think they're your basic enemies. I think the mites are probably your basic enemies, and
right?
You grow from there. But just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, up until like cockroaches, and then there's like little flies as well that can go around. Up until like giant spiders. And there's a very basic campaign. It kind of starts off with like, hey, here's how you get food and water. Go do that, and then go to this area, and till eventually it's like, hey, go to this tree, and then that's kind of where the game just ends. It's extremely short in terms of its content at the moment. But like I had fun doing what we were doing, but that's kind of like the one session where I felt like I'm not going to get a whole lot more out of it. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot there. Like there's a good foundation, but in terms of being a game, there's just not a lot else that's got going for it. I feel like at this stage.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's like I think they may have launched into early access a little early, because there isn't enough in it at the moment to really warrant the purchase. And I think if early access is a marketing exercise, and I think generally it is, then yeah, this is not going to be a successful marketing attempt. That said, I think this has the bones of an amazing game. I think
there's a lot of potential.
I was getting fucking mad the forest vibes out of this. Like huge the forest vibes, because it's got that basic survival, it's got that like lack of knowledge, the need to like discover. It's got the elements of horror. Absolutely, it's got horror, and it's got like a bit of a weird story that you don't super, you sort of need to uncover. Obviously, it's not implemented, implemented yet, but yeah, it's getting there. And yeah, so I was getting huge the forest or Subnautica vibes out of it. I think it's got the potential, but much like those games, both of those weren't I don't like. I think they never could have succeeded if people hadn't picked it up when it first launched. But also, neither of them were worth playing for 12 months after it hit early access. And that's what Grounded feels like to me, is come back in 12 months and this game might be worth 12 or maybe even 18 months. And this game might be worth playing.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's definitely not something you should check out. It's definitely not worth $40. And yeah, I think that's a bit of a tricky one. You know, I had a lot of fun with it. I jumped back in and started a new game, played it on easy as opposed to we were playing on medium. Yeah, jumped on to play it on easy because it's probably too difficult to play solo. Like it's very unforgiving. It feels like it's balanced towards multiplayer, and I think
I don't think it's balanced yet at all.
That's probably more accurate. I don't think there's been any balancing going on yet. And yeah, I think it's very difficult from that perspective. So yeah, you sort of got to like find a reasonable way to play it on your own. And so I was playing on easy, or mild as it's called. I didn't find it that much easier, if I'm being fucking honest. I was still getting fucking black by shit. I still had a fucking spider show up at my fucking first hut on the first night, just out of nowhere. Just showed up and fucking destroyed everything. Like
that's like the biggest problem that the game has out of the gate, is that, and again, like apparently it was a small team when they first started working on it. The number I saw going around was 13 people.
That's what I saw.
I don't know what it's like now once Obsidian finished the Outer Worlds. Maybe they've chucked a couple more people on here. But anyway, it was a small team to start off with. So I don't know if they're still working with that amount of people and they just haven't had the resources. And that's kind of the point of this early access thing, is to get people hands-on with it and get ideas. But when you look at games like, let's go with the two that you just pointed out, Subnautica and The Forest, when you start those games, you don't end up with the big bad thing in that game coming at you in the first 5 minutes. Like, you start off with it trickling out. Like, you go and find your food and your water and you build a spear. Or in Subnautica, you know, same thing, food, water. You go get the thing, but it's not like a Leviathan shows up and starts fucking around with you straight away. Whereas this game, there's no gradual build up. It's just you're put in this world and there's fucking spider chasing you and you can't do anything about it. And that there's no sense of progression there. Like, it should be that the what were they, dust mites or lawn mites, and then the lady beetles or the larvas, and then you get to another area and then it starts getting like bigger and more challenging. The cockroaches come around, and like the spider, I don't know if the spider is the biggest thing you'll find in the backyard, maybe. But it should build up to that, as opposed to you going for a run for 30 seconds and finding a fucking spider off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. I had, like, in my solo game, I had that spider, right, chase me when because I had to go back and get my stuff. Obviously, it killed me. And I had to go back and get my stuff. And so when I got my stuff, it then chased me. And I tried to run back towards the initial respawn, because it destroyed my spawn point. I tried to run back to the initial respawn so I'd be able to get my stuff without aggroing it immediately. It got me again, and then it never really left my corpse. So to get my stuff back, I had to go back there again. It followed me all the way into the fucking respawn area. It killed me at the respawn area. Like, that's ridiculous. That's lunacy. That is too aggressive. It shouldn't be working like that. It sort of robs the game of some of its horror. You know, you know, the fucking, what's scary about the shark in Jaws is that you don't see it for most of it, you know? But no. This one's like, yo, you see it all the time, fuck it.
Yeah, and then that also ruins the other part of the game, the survival aspect of, you're supposed to be building stuff, right? Or in the forest, or in Subnautica, I'll keep referring to those to because they're the best of its class. But we would jump into the forest and we'd spend hours just building bases. There was absolutely no point doing that in this game because it felt like you couldn't find an area where you weren't getting attacked immediately, or like where can I build a base? Because you just didn't know. Because whenever you ran in a direction for 20 seconds, there was a giant spider somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, or like, yeah, or something else, and it feels like it actually feels quite small, which but like it does, like I immediately compare it to Superland, right? Because of both the games that sort of miniaturized,
Yeah, places
and
perspective.
Superland feels way bigger than this. Even the DLC Crash feels bigger in terms of like square footage than this does. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think from the get go, it needs to expand on a large scale to sort of make sure you feel like there's somewhere else you can go. There needs to be wide spaces where nothing's happening for you to actually feel like you can establish something in that area. Because if there isn't, yeah, you sort of just, I don't know, you never like you're always just fucking 5 seconds away from a fucking spider.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like the map seems
ridiculous.
pretty big, but a lot of it is blocked off, like under construction.
Yeah,
And I think the other thing kind of makes it feel small is that there's too much sort of going on, and I think that's because of the enemies. There's too many spiders or too many things that can hurt you. Like you don't have a.
yeah.
I saw some Reddit posts because I went and looked on the Reddit page to see what kind of people are up to today. This morning I went and jumped
Mm,
on,
mm.
and a bunch of the top posts were people just building in the water because that's where they weren't getting attacked.
Yeah,
That's all right. Fair enough.
yeah,
That's what we're doing now. Because I wanted to
yeah.
fuck around with the building stuff, and we built a base and it got trashed in about by like 2 spiders rocked up. Like the
Like
spiders weren't
two,
even. That's not where they were. They just came over and just started, and then
they just
fucking
showed up. Yeah,
beetles
and
and
we
then
didn't do
ants.
anything. Like I understand, like we had like a fucking ant war for a little bit.
Yeah,
And I understand why that happened because I started killing some ants just out of I was like, oh, I need ant parts for some piece of armor,
yeah,
and then all these other ants showed up. I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. That makes sense. I don't think I left any witnesses, so I'm not sure how they realized I was doing this, but like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. The ants will come up to defend the other ants. And
yep,
like soldier ants showed up, and yeah, there was like a big fucking ant war going on. I'm like, cool, that's pretty cool. These spiders, they just showed up out of nowhere just to fuck our shit up. They're just like, hey, we don't want your types in our fucking neighborhood. And they start smashing all that shit. I'm like, fair enough. The only fucking saving grace was two ladybirds also showed up to fight the fucking spiders, which I don't think that's how that works.
yeah.
But
And
yeah, fair
we were
enough.
in one
Like,
of those like tent analyzing desk room things where the spiders couldn't actually get in, so we just kind of we were basically cheesing the fight because
yeah,
someone would hit them, then the spider would eat them, and then we'd
yeah.
revive them, and they couldn't get to us. So yeah, it was.
They replenish health if they de-aggro.
Oh,
They
cool.
regenerate health really fast if they
Mm.
de-aggro. So you can't do that cheese tactic when you solo because you can't keep aggro for long enough, which is just fucking rad. Yeah, I just there's a lot of work that needs to go into it, but at the same time, like I was saying, I see the
Yeah,
bones, I
it's
see
got
the fucking
tons of potential.
foundation. Yeah, I'd really really like to see where it goes eventually, but it's not worth playing right now, I think.
No, it's
Yeah,
cool to jump in or just watch a video and see like what they're going for. But it's just not. There's not enough there. Like it's not fleshed out enough. There's cool ideas with like the how you get water, and you punch a grass, and like there's a water droplet on top of the grass, so you can get it that way, or you can climb up on some leaves and drink the water by jumping up on the grass, or you can cut down the grass and it'll fall off, or if it falls onto the ground too long, it's sort of, you can drink it but it'll hurt you. Like there's all these different ways to interact with like a bunch of the different objects it's got in the game. But it also, in the other end, is very shallow. Like, oh, all right, I need food. What's the one way to get food? And the only way that I can think of was the mushrooms or the 2 granola bars that we found. That was pretty much about it.
Bash acorns for acorn bits, right?
Yeah. Like there's different things in there. It's just like, it seems very base level at this stage. Like I can see all the stuff that they want to do with it. It's just not I don't think it's a game you would go and buy right now and be like, oh, I really want to play this. Like if you've got the Xbox Game Pass, definitely fire it up and have a look, but don't spend money on it at this stage. There's no point. Like it doesn't need the backing of anybody. It's a Microsoft game. It's owned by Microsoft. It's Obsidian, Microsoft Xbox Game Studios. It's not like it's an indie, The Forest, where this game's going to be under development, or Subnautica for years and years, and they could do with people's money to help. Like they don't need it. They got Microsoft. Let them do their thing. So yeah, I'm keen to see what I want to see a like a roadmap or something. Like what is their plans for this? So that because you talked about, I want to check out this game in 18 months or a year and a half.
Yep.
Do I need to do that, or can I check it out in 3 months and they're going to add a bunch of new stuff? Or because the thing that I saw today was apparently 20% of the story is already in there.
That's 20%. Concerning.
Yeah, that's concerning because that wasn't a lot that we saw.
When I played solo, it took me 25 minutes to complete this the story content.
Yeah,
that's not good.
Yeah,
25, and I wasn't like mainlining it either. Like I was mostly, but like I was fucking about. I was building some other stuff, and like it wasn't like I was just beelining straight for the story bits. I could probably do it faster, and that's fucking crazy. Yeah, yikers.
I mean, yeah, and there's potential of like, although you're in a backyard, there's also the possibility of like, oh, there's a crack in the neighbor's fence, and now like here's the DLC section or whatever you want to call it. Like there's ways for them to expand out, and that's like not just be in this one backyard, or even go into like somewhere like a basement or something. I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas around, but it's not like they're contained in this small area. And it seems like there's underground tunnels and all that cool stuff. Like there's tons of potential here. It's just not a game I'd recommend people check out right now. Like it needs to wait, and we need to know like how often they'll be updating this thing, like what type of updates they'll be doing. Because if it's still 13 people, it feels like it's gonna be slow, like really, really slow to update this. Where if they've got like a bunch of people on this one now, it could be a bit quicker. But I guess we'll wait and see. So I'm definitely keen to play more because like I love these types of games, like your Subnauticas and your Forest and like those types of survival games. Like I was looking at, what was the one I sent you guys a link to today? Scum. Like because for whatever reason I saw a link to that pop up on Steam. Does a really good job of being like, hey, this game was updated recently, and I was like, oh, it's a survival game that I haven't played in a while. And I watched like their video, and I'm like, some of that stuff looks pretty cool. All right. Fair enough. Haven't checked that game out in like 2 years. So yeah, like Grounded ticks all those boxes for me. I'm just very cautious at this stage. Like, hopefully they can add some pretty cool content to it, but I don't know if I'd recommend people to check it out right now. Maybe wait. All right. Anything else to add?
No.
No.
Yeah, no, I think that's about it. I mean, I'm writing it up for GameSpot at the moment, so I'll have a bunch more thoughts up on GameSpot at some point. But like, yeah, we've basically summed it up. When I say a bunch more thoughts, I guess I just mean I'll have it in more coherent state as opposed to just sort of fucking haphazard as it was. But yeah, like I think we've we fucking nailed it. Unfortunately, yeah.
Awesome.
I don't know. I'll play it
All
a
right.
bit more. See if I can find any other fucking bad guys. But yeah. Yep.
All right. Should we do some
Anyway.
news then? That is all the games, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, the Xbox Games Showcase kicked off last week. We got to look at basically what Microsoft is doing for this next generation cycle. Some first party stuff. I think it gave us a really good idea of what they're focusing on right now, because leading up to this, it was very confusing. But now it's clear that like they are all in with this Xbox Game Pass system. That is where they're planning on making their money. Like we've always talked about, like who is going to do the Netflix of video games, and are we going to see that? And it's clear now that that's what Xbox is doing. They don't really seem to be on board with trying to sell people an Xbox. They're obviously that's what their plan is. Like they want to have those two SKUs: the Xbox Series X, the premium version, and then the one that hasn't been announced yet, the Lockhart, which we're assuming is the Series S. And then obviously the PC players, the people like me and you who probably are not going to buy an Xbox console next gen because there's no point anymore. And that's okay. If that's what they want to do, if they want to focus all their attention on selling people a subscription service to play their games, why not? So we looked at it. We got to look at a bunch of their games, and all of them are coming to Game Pass off the bat.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm glad we didn't make a food bet based on what they were going to show at this fucking thing, because I was like, oh yeah, Fable, Halo, that's it. Because I don't know. I think I thought that was still going to be a fucking August presentation, right?
There is not. There is, yes.
That's pretty surprising. But I guess the August one has to be the hardware, right?
That'll be the next hardware, the price, and probably that sort of stuff. So should we go through some highlights of what they showed off?
Yeah, let's do it.
I guess Avowed is one that probably stood out. It's Obsidian's next RPG. So these are the guys behind the game we just talked about, Grounded, and also The Outer Worlds. They did a really good RPG back then. So don't know what that kind of game involves. They showed off a really quick trailer, very like Skyrim-y type vibes, Elder Scrolls vibes from that one. Any thoughts at all?
Not really. No. I like it just seems a bit early.
Yep.
To me.
Yeah, it seems too early.
Like, yeah. This felt like one they just sort of chucked in there to like this.
We got some first party
like,
games coming. Here you go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, fine. But yeah, no, I see way more.
Forza Motorsport without a number. It's just Forza now.
Yeah.
4K, 60 frames per second. Looks great. Looks like they're doing some ray tracing stuff. Could see a lot of that happening. A lot of reflections. I
firmly believe that Horizon is how all Forza games should be from now on. They should just concentrate on the Horizon series. But I guess I get that people want track racing. Yeah. I don't see why you couldn't add track racing to a game like Horizon. I think that would be pretty interesting. Just make something up. And unless there's some licensing issue with these tracks, just make something up like, oh yeah, this guy, this mad supervillain transported all the famous racetracks from around the world to this one location in the middle of blah, and now you can race any racetrack and also drive and have street races while driving between the racetracks or some shit. Like, yeah, honestly, yeah, I do not have any interest in track racing anymore. I just don't find it very interesting.
Yeah. Fable was the last thing they teased during the whole showcase, being made by Playground Games, who make Forza Horizon. So there you go. That's a very big different tone for those guys.
Yeah. Is this a reboot, a remake? I don't really understand.
I'm not sure yet. They like obviously Peter Molyneux's not working on it.
Yeah.
But it's called Fable, so it could be a reboot. They're calling it a new beginning of the franchise, so
Right.
possibly a reboot.
Very interested to see how it goes. But yeah.
Yeah. I've
keen.
always enjoyed those games.
Yep.
Some other stuff that came up, Stalker 2 has been resurrected from death.
for the umpteenth time, but as I believe it was Eurogamer pointed out, yeah, this was all target rendering, and they removed the 2021 release date.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I missed this part.
Yeah, so I put it up on the Discord channel, but Eurogamer pointed out that yeah, Stalker 2 trailer is a target render, and the 2021 release date has disappeared. So yeah, this is pretty much the Stalker cycle at this point. Something's announced, it's too good to be true, and we go back to I'll believe it when I'm fucking playing it. At this point, see it. I'll believe it when it's installed on my computer and it barely runs because it's a Stalker game.
Right. What that means is that the footage they showed is not gameplay, but also it's also not like a CG trailer. It's sort of like it's like something they'll show off as like, this is kind of what we want the game to feel like or look like. So it looks like it's a I haven't watched the trailer for a while, but it looks like it's a first-person shooter. I think Rainbow Six Siege might have done something similar when they first showcased that game.
Yeah.
Of like, I think so. This is kind of what we're going for. You look at that initial Rainbow Six Siege trailer of House and the hostage, and then like what that game sort of turned out to be. You can see the similarities. Like that's the kind of thing where you chuck it into a like a pitch meeting, like, hey, here's what the game is going to look like. And like, okay, cool, we get an idea for it. So yeah, I guess that's one you got to be cautious about, right? I did not pick that up until you've obviously just pointed out, so that's interesting.
Yep. Yep.
Yep. Next up, we got State of Decay 3.
Was this just a logo?
It was a CG trailer.
Oh, maybe I just fucking blanked it. Yeah, I don't know. It seems very early to be announcing this.
Yeah.
Have they fixed State of Decay 2 yet?
I don't know. I've heard people say it's pretty good, so maybe they did.
Maybe.
Yeah. Tetris Effect Connected. Multiplayer is coming to Tetris. Cool. Looks pretty sick. I'm in. I'm all about a Tetris Effect.
How did I fucking miss this? I missed this.
Yeah.
How did I miss this? Fucking must have been more interruptions.
Too many.
I didn't watch I did the fucking. I watched the VOD, so I didn't fucking feel the need to sit there and wait for them to fucking yap and shit.
That's coming this year as well.
Dope. Fucking rad.
All new co-op and competitive online and local multiplayer modes.
Sweet.
Yeah, looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Warhammer 40k Darktide. Did you watch this one at all? Because this is right up our alley. This is I guess, a continuation of the Vermintide franchise. 4-player co-op game.
40k.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in. I'm so in. Holy shit. I think my biggest problem with Vermintide was that it was swords and sorcery as opposed to sci-fi. And Darktide's going to fix that. Thanks, 40k. Yep.
A couple other things they showed off. We saw some Crossfire X campaign, which Remedy's working on. Everwild is a game that continues to look interesting, but I've been reading some stuff about that game, and I don't know. Like, have you seen that they, as far as I'm aware, don't know what the game is yet.
Oh, really?
Seems like they've got the art style down, but they don't know what the game is yet. Yeah, they're still apparently trying to tie down what the gameplay is. So that could be a game that's still a while off from the sounds of it.
Yikes. Isn't this exactly what happened to fucking Sea of Thieves? They're like, oh yeah, it's a fucking pirate game or something.
Yeah.
We don't really know what else you do in it, but Yeah.
Sea of Thieves looks. They just released another update today. I was watching a video from it before. There's like a skull that you can find that shoots flames out of it. It's like a flamethrower.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
I was playing a bit of that on the weekend, actually. I didn't play it lots. Very briefly, yeah. Jumped in with some mates, and they were not very good at the game. So it was a lot of me desperately wrangling them to do anything. When I logged in, they'd just been taken down by a sloop.
Right.
A galleon taken down by a sloop. And yeah, they were struggling. So I put myself in. I loaded myself into a fucking cannon, shot myself over the sloop, and dealt with the fucking problem because they were sailing back to the sloop, despite being unable to take it on. They were sailing back to the sloop. So yeah, by the time I logged in, I was ready to rock.
Yeah,
straight over, fucking murdered them. It's murder time, baby.
I was
but yeah,
very close to firing up today, but I only had 45 minutes, so I was like, all right, I'll play some Superhot.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, Everwild seems like they're not sure about that one. The Medium is looking pretty cool. This is that mystery, like switching between two realities. Like it seems like they're taking that. We saw Dishonored do it with like, and also Titanfall 2, the switching between times, playing with that sort of thing. I'm wondering if that is kind of like what they're doing in this game as well.
Yeah,
looks pretty cool. And
but in more of a point and click adventure type vibe.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not a point and click, but like more of an adventure type vibe.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
That's the vibe I got. You don't agree?
Yeah, no, it looks cool. No? I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that kind of stood out? There was obviously a bunch more they talked about. We'll go into detail. Was there anything else kind of stood out to you?
Nothing was like, oh, I thought like Stalker was the one that got me fucking rock hard and then fucking sad in my pants, in my pantalones.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Obviously, we should talk about Halo as well because that was the big one people were coming for. I'm
this
obviously
bad. It looked bad. Am I fucking crazy or what? It looked bad. Like I saw people were talking about how good it looked, and I'm like, "Well, we're watching something different." Like I think now, you know, the word is out, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, we're allowed to talk about how bad this looked." But like, I was watching it, like, why does it look like? Why does it look like a 360 game? Like, why does it look like a fucking last gen game? I don't understand. Like, isn't this the fucking power of the Series X? What's going on here? Like, why does it look so fucking dull?
Yeah.
I
had the same thing, but I'm not a massive Halo fan by any stretch. I just didn't, it never grabbed me at all. I think you have more of an attachment to that series than I do. So when I was watching it, I was like, it looks fine, but that's about it. Like it's not doing anything. This is supposed to be
the flagship product. This is supposed to be the game that gets people going, well, fuck, now I have to buy a fucking Series X. Holy shit. I can't not get a Series X now. Like, goddamn. Like, yeah, this is the sort of shit. This is like the Spider-Man Miles Morales moment, you know, where people are supposed to be fucking looking at it and being like, yep, it's a must-have game.
Yeah.
And that's not what that was under any circumstance.
I mean, it's doing 60 frames per second. That's good. But but like, let me finish. It's missing the other bits. The first thing I pointed out straight away was like, I think I screen capped a YouTube 4K because I went back and watched it in 4K and was like, surely this is like something's going on here. And I was like, I screen capped the shot and I was like, this looks so flat and bland. Like, where is your where is the things we're supposed to be getting with this next gen, which is the better lighting, right? Where's the ray tracing and the things that you're supposed to be having? There's no ray tracing. Apparently, that they announced this later on, but there's no ray tracing in it. It's not coming till later on, till some other time.
They're gonna add it in a later update. Like,
Yeah.
are you fucking kidding? Holy shit! Is it gonna fucking run at 12 frames a second as well? Like when they added ray tracing in beta form to Battlefield 5 for the first time, or whatever the fuck? Like, holy shit! Are you joking? Yeah, it like, isn't that the big fucking draw card? It'd be like Spider-Man Miles Morales, and they're like, oh, by the way, it's got really long load times. We'll add in shorter load times later on down the track. Like, isn't this the big fucking? Isn't this your flagship feature? It does make me wonder if they are bodging together some software-based ray tracing. They're still claiming it's hardware-based. NVIDIA still maintains that it's not that nobody else is capable of doing it. Like, questions. Yeah.
Just for me, just the gameplay wise, like, there's nothing that they showed me other than it's Halo in an open world now, like, and he's got a grappling hook that you can grab people with. Just like nothing out of it. Just looked like Halo, like very basic. There was nothing that stood out to me, being like, oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I haven't seen that shooter before. Like when you the first time you watch the Titanfall trailer or Titanfall 2, where they're like fucking jumping around giant robots and wall climbing and double jumping and doing all this crazy shit, and there's none of that in this. It's just a shooter. Like, it's a bland shooter.
It looks like, yeah, like Titanfall is a great fucking comparison point because it looks like a fucking like budget ripoff of fucking Titanfall. Like, oh my god, I just don't understand. Yeah.
But I wrote this as well. Like, there was they did a pre-show as well. You probably haven't seen this, but there was a game they showed in the pre-show which had like a dude riding a rocket, like literally riding a fucking rocket, and he's like shooting his gun, and then he jumps off and it cuts to the next scene. There's like these two giant robots sword fighting each other, and I'm like why is that not in Halo? That was fucking way cooler than whatever they showed me in Halo. Just shooting a bunch of people. Yeah, it just looked bland. Like, there was nothing going on. I'm not hating on Halo just because I'm not a fan of the series. I'm just like, you've been teasing this game for years now, and that's what you've come out with. It just doesn't, like, the stuff that I saw in the Spider-Man Miles Morales trailer looks way better. Visually how it looks, like, there's just more art direction in that than whatever is going on in here. Yeah, I don't understand like what the audience is, like who they're going for. Obviously the Halo fans, but this isn't. I don't feel like it's a console. Like, this isn't your big blockbuster console seller. When you're not when you're not going, hey, here's the things that is going to make this next generation stand out, because it's not there. Your ray tracing isn't coming. As far as we know, Spider-Man Miles Morales is going to have ray tracing, from what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's not going to be in Halo. So I think it's a giant misstep from them. It's a huge misstep. The ray tracing thing should have been a priority, to be like, this is how good the fucking games look now. Look at this shit. It's great.
Yeah. This is why you buy this console, because look at how fucking good this looks. No, that's not it. Yeah.
So anyway, that was their showcase. The only thing I like about it all is that all their first party stuff, and as much as they can, is like they're putting it on Game Pass, and it's all going to be available on there. And that means I don't have to buy an Xbox. I can just play it all on PC. I'm okay with that. So I'm definitely playing Halo no matter what happens. They also talked about the next event is planned currently for August, so sometime in the next 4 weeks.
I must have missed that part. I think
this was an interview later on with an executive. Oh, the other piece of news I've got here is Halo Infinite. That demo was running on a PC.
Right, yeah.
Have you seen the
So
quotes
that's
that came up about this as well?
no.
So this was an interview with, I'm just bringing up the article now. I believe it was with Alana Pierce on Inside Gaming. I've just opened it now. It's with Aaron Greenberg, who is a Xbox marketing general manager. And when Alana asked her about the criticism surrounding the graphics of Halo Infinite, he said, "We're in the middle of a global pandemic. It's July, and we're far away from launch. You're seeing a work in progress game."
How far away from launch are we, champ? Like 4 months at best? Or are you actually legit coming out in fucking December 31st or something to just barely fucking scrape into your 2020 launch window or some shit? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. 4 months is not that far away. 4 months,
especially when the game has to be ready. It's got to be gold 6 weeks in advance. 6 weeks to 4 weeks in advance. Probably 4 weeks.
Well, at this rate, apparently.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Right?
Yeah. Go back and look at it in 4K 60. So look at it on the Halo YouTube channel. It didn't look that much better. Like, it did look better, absolutely. There's no question, but
yeah,
it didn't look that much better. Yeah, like the problems it had were fundamental to the graphics. You could see fucking textures popping in. You could see the fucking clouds popping in. Like, that's not going to change in 4K 60 frames a second. It literally doesn't change. Like, it can't change in 4K 60 frames a second. I'm watching fucking textures pop in. He's flying through a fucking... I'm watching it right now in 4K at 60 frames a second. And he's flying through what appears to be a canyon made out of Lego bricks. Grey Lego bricks. Like, oh my God. I just don't understand.
Yeah. And if you go back to that initial reveal trailer in 2018, there's a shot towards the last, let me see if I can find it here. It's about 1:30 in, so if people want to go check this out, go to the Halo Infinite E3 2018 announcement trailer. And at about 1:37, 38 seconds in, it's got like a long shot of the I don't know what it's called. I was going to say warthog, but I don't think that's what it is. It's a vehicle. And you've got like dirt kicking up behind it, and there's in the distance you got these giant alien pillars and like mountains. Like there's a ton of detail going on here. That doesn't look like the detail we're seeing in the background on this shot doesn't look like what we're seeing in the gameplay here. So, like, I don't know if they've reached too far back in that announcement trailer in 2018, because this is obviously what they said was in engine footage, but that could be very different to like, hey, this is running in engine, but it's also running on a fucking IBM supercomputer. So let's do that. Anyway,
like, yeah, it's running on the quantum computers or some shit. Like, yeah, there's no way the Xbox will ever be, unless it costs $24,000.
Xbox is not gonna there's actually 3 SKUs: the Xbox Series X, the S, and the last one's just a dollar sign. And
yeah.
Or $3 signs.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I guess we'll find out more about what else is going on next couple of weeks. I'll probably announce that one. So stay tuned. Yep. Next up, we've got some Gabe Newell news. He's being found. He's in New Zealand partying like a rock star. Apparently, he took some time off after the launch of Half-Life Alyx, their big VR title, and was down in New Zealand holidaying with his family. And then a global pandemic struck, and they had like 48 hours to make a decision on what to do. He decided to stay in New Zealand. So he's been in New Zealand since March, working from there, because it's probably not a bad choice considering New Zealand has handled this pandemic very well.
Yeah,
The
it was
last
a
I
very good
saw, they
choice.
were having 0 cases pretty constantly. You
Yep.
probably know more about it than me, but is that what's kind of going on down there?
That is what's happening. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they don't have
Um,
any fucking coronavirus. They get none.
yeah. So he's basically throwing this giant party for people down there for their hospitality, which is all right, fair enough.
Fucking amazing.
But
Good.
he also
Fuck yeah.
the first time he announced it, he was on this like morning show, sort of New Zealand sunrise or like that sort of thing, and I don't think they got a grasp of like they were sitting with a billionaire.
Yeah.
Because they kind of just asked the guy like, "Oh, you make video games?" Like, "Yeah, I make video games," and they just like, "Oh, whatever." Cool.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
Do they not
Um,
like Google him? Do they not Google the people coming onto their show?
maybe.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you at least do that? Isn't that the anyway?
But he's also appeared on the New Zealand version of the project as well yesterday, and
Right.
They seem to have done a bit more research on him at least, and asked him what his thoughts were on the new PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X, and he said he is more in favor of the Xbox Series X at this stage. It's more powerful, were his sort of words. So
Which I think is like technologically true
yeah,
based on what we know about them, and I'm sure he knows more again.
yeah,
But like, yeah, I think that is technically true. But at the end of the day, it always comes down to how they use that tech more
yeah,
than the PlayStation 3 was. I mean, they were using chained together PlayStation 3s as supercomputers. Like,
yeah.
but at the
Launching
same
missiles, I
time,
think, right?
yeah, nobody could fucking code for the fucking thing, so they wound up half the time looking way worse. So it took like fucking 7 years for them to start using that thing at its full fucking potential. Yeah, like I think it is technically more powerful, but it
Yeah,
will wind up coming down to how it's used. And
the
based
games
on
and
fucking Halo Infinite, yikes, it's not
yeah.
happening yet.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just interesting to see that Gabe's living down there at this stage. What is the policy? Like he's obviously was down there for a holiday. How long can you stay? Or did they introduce like a new rule or something? Like fuck it, you're here, you can stay for as long as you want. They probably, or
Mm.
maybe he had to throw this party because the government was onto him, and he was just like, "Look, I'll throw this party for you. Don't worry about it. I got you."
Yeah. Yeah. Don't send me back, please.
Please. All right. Here's a rumor that is going around at the moment. I think it's still sort of unverified. No one's really commenting on it, but Game Informer in their magazine have an article in there relating to Spider-Man Miles Morales, and that article is saying that Spider-Man Remastered will also be coming with the game. This hasn't been confirmed as of yet. Like it's in the article stating it's a it's a separate game. Like it's some sort of bundle.
Really? Didn't I say this? I'm pretty sure I said this would happen. That's amazing. I'm excited. That's such a good idea. Because everyone wants to see the Spider-Man tech on the PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah. So hopefully this is true. I mean, this seems like the kind of thing where Game Informer would come out and maybe try and fix that statement, but that hasn't happened yet. So, and it's possible that magazine wasn't supposed to be released yet, but I guess we'll get some more info soon.
Yeah.
But there's fingers crossed that is kind of something that happens because that seems like a smart decision, a very smart decision.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next up, some more Marvel news. I don't know if you got a chance to check this out, but they did a Marvel's Avengers war table today, which detailed a bunch of the beta information that's coming out or the beta game that's coming out in August. So did you get a chance to watch this yet?
I did not.
No. Goes for like 20 minutes or so. And Marvel's Avengers, I kind of still lukewarm on it, or have been lukewarm. because
your name's Luke.
Yeah, that's it. Because it just hasn't really shown me a lot where I'm like, oh, that's kind of, yeah, whatever. Like that last war table they did, I thought it looked very generic.
Oh yeah.
But this one looks awesome. Like they've done such a better job of this presentation of like showcasing like what you can kind of do in this game.
Right.
So this beta, they're doing sort of like 3 weekends. One of them is going to be a PlayStation exclusive because they got some sort of deal with PlayStation. The second weekend will be a pre-order weekend for people that pre-ordered, and then third weekend, I believe, will be open beta for everybody. And you can play all those 3 weekends depending on where you are in the chain. But they just like all the stuff they showed. There's so much content in this beta. There's going to be 4 hero missions in the game. The first one will be the Golden Gate Bridge demo that we've seen a bunch, where you can play as Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Widow. And then there's a couple of other missions in there. One of them will be, I guess they're like single player story missions where you're playing as like Miss Marvel or the Hulk, that sort of stuff. And then there's a bunch of co-op missions up to 4 players where you can play as the 4 characters they've got in this actual demo for you to play as is Miss Marvel, Iron Man, Hulk, and Black Widow. And so you can actually level up all these individually if you want. The level cap is going to be 15. There is a really cool system in place where if you're doing one of these co-op missions but you're playing solo, you can still invite like AI partners into the game, and it will actually level up those characters alongside with you as like an AI companion. So it's not like a traditional game where you're like, oh, I got to play this one character, and like, why would I choose anybody else when this is the one I'm playing and I've got all the cool shit on this one? Whereas now it's like the AI companions level up aside you, and so you can switch between them when you go to the next level and be like, oh, I want to try playing as Hulk now, or I want to try playing as Thor on this next one. Thor's not available on this demo, but just an example. So I think that's a really cool system of gaining experience on an AI companion and allowing you to sort of switch between them as you go. That seems like a cool feature. So you've got these solo story missions, campaigns that you've got in there. Then they've got these holographic augmented reality machine room challenges where they're sort of like training simulators, like a wave-based combat. And so you can play a bunch of them. I think there's 3 challenge rooms that they're doing. And then there's 4 war zones, which are kind of like dungeons. The way they're talking about them is they can last from anywhere between 20 minutes up until 2 hours, depending on what it is in the full game. And then they've got 5 drop zone missions as well, which are kind of like mini task-based missions that you can jump in with a bunch of people and you got to try and complete them. So I think they're saying there's about 20 missions all up in the beta or the demo that they're releasing, which seems like a big chunk. And they're kind of like taking all of that feedback that they've had and being like, all right, we're going to show you what we can do in this game, like what there is. And like the footage they showed looks cool. Like it looks so cool. Like characters behaving differently. The way they move around is completely different. The way they fight is different. Each character has 3 skill trees that you can kind of spend points into. The beta's only going to have 1, but there's like a variety in terms of how my Iron Man is going to behave compared to yours, because we might spec in a different skill tree. We might have different abilities. We might have different cosmetic items on that. Not cosmetic items, but like gear that changes up how your abilities work and that sort of stuff. So I like that is kind of something different, because when you play, I don't know, like a Destiny's kind of the one that comes to mind. When we play like the same character, we can't really do much that's different. We're kind of the same thing. It's not really a variety to it. So that kind of seems really cool. And the other thing they announced is Hawkeye will be the first free DLC character that comes out in the game. And he'll have his own story missions and co-op missions and that sort of thing. So I wasn't like this game was on my radar, but it wasn't on my like, oh, I'm excited for this game. But after seeing this like latest war table presentation they did, I'm like, okay, I'm like starting to feel this. This looks pretty cool. Like I'm excited. If they can, if this game is kind of promising and can deliver on a lot of the things they're talking about, then it could be a lot of fun. Because just some of the stuff I've seen from it in the past, I'm just like, it looks fine, but it's just not really for me. So I definitely recommend people go check out that presentation if they haven't seen it. It dropped this morning, because it's looking cool.
I'm watching it now.
Cool. Yeah.
I just don't understand what do you do in this? You just bash up robots? Is it basically just Destiny with fucking Marvel heroes and it's a beat 'em up instead of a shooter? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's definitely inspired by Destiny. I think they said there's over 50 different types of enemies in the game.
Right.
But you've got your campaign where you're playing as a character. A lot of them are like hero-based characters, so it'll be like, this is the Iron Man level, or this is the level where you play as Hulk and Miss Marvel. Like, it's not necessarily the one character. Sometimes you can pick and choose. Sometimes it's like kind of forced upon you. And then there's the co-op missions that you can play with other people, and these challenge rooms and the war zones, like, which are dungeons. And yeah, there's a ton of stuff going on. I don't know how it all fits into, if it's just a giant world like Destiny, or the kind of thing that I saw being thrown around a lot was this world map. So it could be a thing where you kind of pick a place in the world. That probably makes more sense to me, because otherwise you'd be fighting in like New York or something like that, and that'd just be strange. Yeah, so I think it's just a world map, and you kind of pick your mission, you go off and do them in like a Destiny-esque sort of way. But I don't know. It looks cool to me. Like, I'm definitely going to play it. I'm hoping it's just better than a lot of the stuff they've shown in the past.
I am going to be
You
honest.
don't like Destiny.
I'm not seeing anything I like in this. Yeah, I don't like Destiny. And at the very least, Destiny's a fucking first-person shooter, which I obviously love shooters. So, yeah. This doesn't even appear to be that. It's not even a shooter. So I don't think it's the game for me. I mean, I don't like. What's your reason for playing these story missions? Is the story actually going to be any good? What makes you think that it's going to be good?
It seems interesting.
Seems interesting. Yeah, but like, who's writing it? Have they got like some fucking phenomenal fucking writer behind the scenes crafting the story? Even fucking Call of Duty at least tried to get David S. Goyer to focus up for half a minute and fucking tell a coherent story. He failed, obviously, but like, they put some effort in. Like,
I'm just trying to look, because the writer is Hannah McLeod. I don't know what she has done because I can't find anything. As far as I know, she's a Crystal Dynamics writer. That's all I can see here. So,
right. So, like, yeah,
it's a lot different to the Marvel Spider-Man, where it had like literally two of the guys that were writing Spider-Man, the comic series, Dan Slott and I can't remember who the other one is, but Christoph Gage, I think was the other one, who is a Spider-Man writer as well. They were working with Insomniac to create that story, which is why it was pretty good. Like they knew their stuff.
Like, this is my concern is not to take anything away from Hannah or whoever is writing on the game, but like, why would I believe on a fundamental level that what I'm going to get is a good comic book story? And if I can't count on that, then why would I care to play the story missions? Like, the only reason I would play this is if I felt like, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, right? Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1, the story is, I thought, very good. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2, story was an interesting take on Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The game played like shit, and I never got into the story.
Okay.
Right, but like the reason I played Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 was like inevitably for the story. I mean, the Baldur's Gate style gameplay certainly worked for me at the time, but yeah, it was for the story. I thought it did storytelling really well. I don't see why I would believe that this one would do storytelling well. You know, I just don't get it. Anyway.
Yeah. I guess we'll see, right? I
Anyway.
mean, I guess just the premise that I've seen is that basically Captain America dies, and that's kind of the start of the downfall of the Avengers, and it's about them trying to assemble them after a certain number of years after Captain America's death. So I don't know, could be interesting. But again, I'll have to wait and see. Not sure, but it's on my radar now more than what it was before after that. After watching some of that stuff today. Next up, we've got some Netflix news. They've announced The Witcher Blood Origin, which will be a 6-part live-action show set 1,200 years before The Witcher. So I guess it's going to be a Witcher origin story. Obviously not involving the current set of series characters like
Right.
Geralt or any of those guys. So Henry Cavill probably not going to be in it 1,200 years before. The first Witcher.
Will it be told with incoherent time jumps?
Maybe if it starts off.
We can only hope.
Maybe if it starts off like 1,200 years before Blood Origin, and then it jumps forward in time at the end.
That's a good plan.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll definitely watch that one. Fan of The Witcher.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Interested to see who they cast.
We don't really know anything enough
what that is
about it, right?
Yeah, I think they announced the showrunners. Do you know who that is off the top of your head? No.
I don't know.
It's not the same people that were doing the current one. Yeah, I can't find it here quickly. Just looking. Anyway, that's the third series they've announced now because they're doing an animated spin-off as well. Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going
like all in on The Witcher.
They bought the license. Were like, fuck it.
Yep. We're gonna wring this one dry.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
Next up, we've got a big leak from Nintendo, which they're calling the Gear Leaks. This started in July, early July, on what's that website called? The shitty 4chan. Yeah, that's it. Started on there. People were uploading a bunch of data which was stolen, and there's a lot of data here that was taken. We're talking about like source code for old games. A lot of assets as well, personal information from emails and things like that. There was a ton of stuff. I think there's, like, from what I can understand, more than 20 games on this list. You got games like Star Fox 2, Link's Awakening, Mario Kart, Yoshi's Island, F-Zero, Super Mario All-Stars, like Wii games. Yeah, it's nuts.
Like, holy shit. The emulators that they used, like the official emulators they were using?
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
I saw a post from a guy that he worked on Star Fox, the Star Fox series. He's like, this is a program that I wrote 30 years ago, which was designed to check text in Star Fox, because the programming that they were doing was like new to him. He was kind of learning it. So basically he's writing this program, and the output of this program would tell him whatever he was doing, whether it was right or not. Like, it'd display the text on the screen. And he's like, I wrote that 30 years ago, and they've somehow got that. Like, where were they? Like, how did they? I haven't seen this. So Nintendo's obviously storing a lot of this old source code and stuff somewhere on their servers. Like, they're keeping it.
Yeah.
And someone's gone in and found all this stuff and leaked it everywhere. This leak is pretty insane. So we don't really know yet what the ramifications of this are, like who Nintendo is going to go after, but there's a lot of information here. Like, this stuff normally doesn't come out, at least source code and things like that, unless the developer wants it to.
That's fucking bananas. Like, the stuff here is, yeah, I can't believe it. That's crazy. It's fucking huge.
People have started like digging through some of this code and found like doing here's unreleased content for this game, or assets that were never used, or levels that were test levels, or levels that were never like saw the light of day, and like rendering them out, and people are playing around with them, and characters that weren't there. I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I heard that, like, you remember there was always that thing about like Luigi was in Mario 64 as a playable character.
Yeah.
Like people were digging up Mario assets, Luigi assets in that game, and things like that. Yeah. So
where can I buy a Luigi board?
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway. And we got the last piece of news here, which is one you put on the bottom. Would you like to talk about it? Because I don't know what it is.
It was a bit of a controversy earlier this week. Joe Rogan was saying that basically video games are a waste of time.
Yep.
And people are getting all up in arms about it. But I don't know, man. Like, who fucking cares? Are they not a waste of time? They're a pastime, right? Like,
some of them, like Grounded.
Grounded. Oh, look out! Did you feel like your time was wasted with Grounded, Luke? Didn't you get to hang out with friends? Didn't you get to spend a day hanging out with some friends? See, was it a waste of time? Yes,
no,
it was. Everything is a waste of time. No, literally everything is a waste of time. This podcast is a waste of time. Listening to this podcast is a waste of time. Listening to Joe Rogan's podcast is a waste of time. Performing on or creating Joe Rogan's podcast is a waste of time. Literally everything, all the time, throughout all existence, it is a waste of time. All we're doing is wasting time. Time is just a construct. It's a mental, it's an idea. I would think that a man who does as much DMT as Joe Rogan would fully understand the implications. The bottle is uncorking by referring to anything as a waste of time, because time has no meaning except what we give it, and so all we can do is waste it because it exists.
Yep. And now we've turned into the Joe Rogan podcast, just like that.
This is pure, uncut acid in my cup.
Yep.
Yeah. No. Anyway, I just thought it was weird. Like, what was weird to me was how people were defending games.
People cared.
Like, who cares? Like, yeah, aren't they a waste of time? Everything all the time is a waste of time. All things are wastes of time. So you like what? Oh, but am I wasting my time when I play? Yeah, you are. Like, the fact that you derive value from it doesn't mean that it's not a waste of time. Like, ludicrous. Are you wasting your time when you go to work? Yes, you're wasting time when you go to work, because like, what do you better? Just because you get money out of it, doesn't mean it's not a waste of time. Just because you derive value from it doesn't mean the time isn't wasted. The time cannot be gotten back. It is a resource that you cannot stop spending. So yes, everything is a waste of time.
All right.
Anyway, that's Job's pep talk for this week.
The Joe Rogan podcast.
Joe Rogan. We've finally got there.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions time. Let's do some questions. Dr. E3 Money writes, have you noticed how when Jin Sakai uses Resolve and punches himself, he's basically doing a Kylo Ren, a samurai descendants of the Sith? Is Star Wars for real a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? A lot to unpack on this one. Is Star Wars a...
Star Wars is a Western.
I mean, Star Wars was like George Lucas straight up ripping off Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah.
And obviously, Ghost of Tsushima has the Kurosawa estate's blessing. It's got like a Kurosawa mode and stuff. So I guess the link is there. I thought because I play with him. I mostly wear the Ronin outfit,
Okay.
the
yep.
like robes and stuff. You know,
The
the
Jedi robe.
key. And yeah, like the Jedi robe. And so what I thought he was doing, what I thought Jin was doing, was like straightening out his clothes. Thought he was like, oh yeah, I'll just straighten out my clothes and that'll make me feel better. I didn't
Yeah.
realize he was punching himself. Yeah. Anyway, obviously, he learned that technique in Jedi school, so I don't think samurai are descendants of Sith any more than Sith are all descendants of Jedi. Because right, like you have to be a Jedi to become a Sith, don't you? Not like I'm probably best to ask Nate this in particular because he's the hyper fucking dork. But yeah,
I don't think
like,
you have to become a Jedi to become a Sith.
but like, I mean, just from a like logistical standpoint, don't you have to become a like? How are you going to get noticed as a like to become a Sith, right? If there's only ever two Siths, right? How are you going to get noticed to become a Sith, an apprentice, right? Unless you're a Jedi, short of being one of the most horrific murderers of all time, like, and exclusively using the Force. And don't the Jedi roll around finding people who are Force sensitive and then like bringing them into their ranks? And so, like, isn't there an argument to be made that, like, technically you would be a Jedi before you became a Sith?
I'm having a read here. It says here Darth Maul was not a Jedi before he became a Sith.
How did he become a Sith then?
Well, I don't
Some
know.
dude
I'm
with,
gonna
like,
go read the fucking comic now.
Look at this motherfucker with this fucking. This dude's got fucking a horny head and like fucking cool face and shit. Let's give him a double-ended fucking lightsaber. Maybe he can let force powers. I don't
Well,
fucking
maybe
know.
they did a scan and were like, "Oh, his midichlorian's really high. Let's get him out."
Can he like make him a fucking like? Why pick him and not like I don't know any of the other ones? Like Darth Maul. Who are the Sith apprentices in fucking in the prequels? There was Darth Maul, obviously, right? Because the Sith master was Palpatine, right?
Right. Wasn't he the only one?
No, isn't the Dooku, Count Dooku?
He's not a. Is he a Sith? I thought he was like, what's above a Sith?
What? There's nothing above a Sith. Why the fuck would there be anything above a Sith? There's just two things. It's Jedi and Sith. It's balance.
No.
It's like poetry. What's Count Dooku? Is he a Sith apprentice?
I'm pretty sure he definitely is. Yeah, Count Dooku.
So how come
he was a Jedi master that fell on the dark side?
Fucking Joab's fucking looking right. Joab's looking fucking right.
Yeah,
I'm telling you now.
I just proved you wrong with the other guy.
He didn't prove shit. You don't know what he was before. You just said he wasn't. You can't just fuck. Well, yeah, well, fucking. No, I say he was one. I'm just reading here now that he was a Jedi.
No, you're all wrong. Fucking... Credit. Where's your sources?
Where's your sources, motherfucker?
On Google. I just Googled it.
Oh, mine are on Google. I just Googled it.
Yeah, but if you Googled it, it should be the same source as me.
And yet,
you're wrong.
No, you're wrong. You're not. I'm not getting any fucking proof here, am I? Proof. You got to deliver proof that works on a fucking podcast.
And he never lies. So,
I asked Yahoo, and it sent me to Google. So,
well,
I don't know what else to do. Yeah. I've exhausted all my resources. I could Bing it. Maybe DuckDuckGo it.
Well, Alta Vista. Is that still up? Alta.
Oh, yeah.
No. Wait. No. Takes me to Yahoo. All right. Looks like we've hit a wall.
Yes. Apprentice the Dark. This is.
What about Ask Nate?
Yeah.
AskNate.com. Doesn't work.
It does seem like Sidious just sort of plucked him out of nowhere.
Yeah, so I'm right.
Yeah, well, I'm fucking trying to throw you a bone, motherfucker, but like, it does, like, we don't really have any fucking idea of, like, I just don't understand. I just don't understand what my initial point was anymore, because I
forgot the
we
question.
got so far. Well, I definitely forgot the question. Something about punching.
About Ghost of
Tsushima. We know that Kylo Ren went to Jedi school. We know this to be true. So he learned it from Jedi school, is what I'm saying. He didn't learn it from fucking Snoke or whatever the fuck. He learned it from fucking Mark Hamill. I mean, Luke Skywalker. It was like Luke's like, if you ever get hurt, just fucking punch yourself in the guts. That'll work. It was a trick that Luke played on him. They taught him wrong as a joke.
Yeah.
It was like that. Yeah. Anyway.
That's the question.
The last question was, is Star Wars for real a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away? That's what it says at the start of every movie, Drew. Why would they lie to us?
Yeah. That's just silly.
They're not Luke, not Googling things and making things up as he goes. Like, come on. Sort of.
What if we get a Star Wars film set in present day?
Genius.
Yeah.
How do they explain the existence of humans?
I don't know. You'd have to go back and even further if you did that.
It's true.
Like if it just came up and said today in a galaxy far, far away, rather than.
Yeah. What about in a galaxy not that far away?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow and in this galaxy right now.
Yeah. I'd watch it.
Yeah. In a cinema near
in
you.
3 years. Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. Great questions, Drew. Loved it.
Yeah.
Two really interesting places.
All right.
Alrighty.
And that is the show. You can find us on iTunes, Android, Windows Store, Spotify, YouTube, all the places you get your podcast from. You can find us on The Gap, the GA Podcast, the Gap Podcast. If you do have a moment, please rate and review the show. Helps other people find us. If you would like to send us questions like Drew did, you can do it by email, thegapodcast@gmail.com, or you can go to our Discord page, thegapodcast.com/Discord. That'll take you to our wonderful pages we've got there. We can talk about all sorts of video games, leaves questions. We got a game spoilers chat going in there now, a movie spoilers chat, which hasn't been filled out for a while because there's no movies anymore. Don't know what that is. No, not anymore.
Well, I did find a good one. It's called Deep Blue Sea 3.
I didn't even know there was a second one, so there you go.
I didn't either. And so I'm going to watch all the Deep Blue Sea movies. I'm very excited.
Fair enough. You can also find us on social media, facebook.com/thega podcast, twitter.com/thega podcast. You can also go to our YouTube page at thegapodcast.com/YouTube. You can watch this right now on YouTube. Put some videos up there. Usually last week I put up some Superhot Mind Control Delete. I think I put up some carry-on footage in there as well. So you can go check those out if you want to. You can also go to our website, thegapodcast.com. It's got links to all the things we just talked about, including past episodes of the show. If you want to go take a look at them, you can do that. And that is all thanks to our Patreon members. They help support the show and keep the website up and running. If you want to do that as well, you can go to patreon.com/thega podcast. Thank you to everyone that does it every month. We greatly appreciate that. And
we do. You're the greatest. Yeah.
Yep. That is it. Anything else you want to pimp out this week that you've been working on?
No, it won't be live yet, but just keep an eye on GameSpots for my full piece on Grounded, and the other stuff won't be live. I don't know when the fuck it will be, but it's not live yet.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you?
You can go to my Twitter page, twitter.com/Luke Lawrie, Lawrie, or my YouTube page, which is on YouTube. I don't know what my account is. Let me check. youtube.com/ it's not Luke Lawrie. So that won't work. Anyway, you can find me on YouTube. I put a video up on Carry On. I did like a 4-minute mini review thing about that game.
It's good.
I might post it on the website. I probably should actually. I'll post on the website at some stage. Yes. I'll put the transcript up. So it was something different. And that's the show. What's happening next week? Anything that you know of that we can talk about?
More Fall Guys.
More Fall Guys. Okay. I don't think I've got anything lined up. So it could be I'm going to say it's going to be a brief show, but we're running on 3 hours now. So, and that is the average these days.
We will try to tackle Blightbound again.
Yep.
That's a good plan.
Yep. Cool. All right. See you everyone next week.